Okay, welcome back. We are back on another live stream. Of course, I have my trusty guest with me. How are you doing today? Oh, I think your mic is muted. Okay, yeah, how are you doing?
I'm great.
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
How are you?
I'm good. So today we're really talking about, we kind of wanted to do a recap. I know people have been asking, like, to talk about like the best shows or the best this or the best that. So we are kind of go through some like shows that were interesting this year. Also, some shows that maybe weren't so great because there always has to be balance.
Yes, yes.
Um,
It's a marathon, huh? It's a lot. We're not going to do
yeah.
everything, of course, but it's going to be a lot to talk about, I think. It's good.
Yeah, true. Um, so I think the first thing we should probably do is really just discuss from a critique standpoint what a good collection actually is, or what does like a good collection mean. So I'd like to know from your perspective, when you think of like a good fashion collection, a good runway show, what kind of things need to come together for you to feel that way?
Yeah. Well, it depends if it's the first collection for a designer or if it's a continuity of a collection. Like a designer who is doing, he's not at his beginning. I will judge differently. Uh, for sure, there has to be coherence within the collection itself, like an underlying connecting point. There has to be some connectivity. Definitely, there has to be coherence from collection to collection as well in terms of storytelling. And then, of course, it's very important the quality of clothes together with the styling. I mean, sometimes it's like I would see like some brands. I will just give an example to make it clear. Like Prada, for example, is a brand that uses always its own code, so it's very recognizable, but it's never really repetitive because you
Yeah,
can fall into that as well. It can be like using the same things but creating a repetition. Some brands do that, so you're not interested in watching. Some brands they have this coherence, but every time they create within their own codes, like Rick Owens, Prada, this kind of brands, and it's most of the times it's very refreshing and there are new elements and interesting clothes construction. And there are also some other brands that they're like very good, but not necessarily innovative, but they follow their own how to say their own point of view. Like Erdem is a brand like this for me, which
yeah.
is always very beautiful. But I would not necessarily go and check every collection. It's not that exciting to me in terms of
That's
look.
because yeah, Dem collections tend to be similar, like season
Yeah,
to season.
but like they introduce little elements, and it's always very well made. So it deserves to like there is. It deserves to it deserves to be congratulated for that. Like there is coherence in what they're doing, and that's an important thing because sometimes it goes all over the place, and sometimes collections are created, and you're not sure why they're made and they're not made well, and so. But I mean, then it becomes like how to say that it's not easy to judge it. Like you have to have a developed eye to be able to judge quickly if a collection is good or not. Otherwise, and it's not just if the clothes are nice or not. That's very like first reading of it. There are other readings that
Yeah,
have. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know
yeah,
if I explain it very well. I will talk a little bit about it when we see the collections themselves. But for me, that's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's also about like your perspective, right? Because I think that you can have like a customer perspective where
Yeah.
customers are like, well, I liked it, the clothing was good, it was nice to wear. That's like one way of seeing things. But me personally, as someone that critiques runway shows,
Yes.
I'm more concerned about the narrative they're weaving. The first question I have in my head is, how does this push fashion forward in any way?
Yes.
Or
Exactly.
how does this bring
Yeah.
anything innovative to fashion? Whereas, like, as a customer, you wouldn't consider that. Because a lot of times when I see like people that critique clothes, people be like, none of this matters. Like it's going to sell anyway. And it's like, yeah, but we're just having two different conversations. There's like the
Yeah.
conversation of like who is the greatest designer of all time, which would be, the Alexander McQueen's of the world, and then there's a conversation of who sold the most. That's a completely different conversation. So I think for me, it's how strong is the narrative? Is it innovative? Are you pushing the conversation forward? Do you have your own design signatures that are very recognizable? And I look at all the elements because I mean, runway shows or just collections in general have so many elements, right? Down
Yeah.
to the invitations, down to the music that they use, down to the set, down to even the people that they're inviting. A lot of this stuff has a lot of meaning. What is the venue? What, does the venue have to do with the collection? There's so many different elements
Mm-hmm.
that come into it. And I tend to prefer designers that use all of these elements to kind of
Yeah.
weave into the collection versus some designers that just design nice looking clothes and like there's not much world building that's gone into it. Whether that's the set or the music or, the invitations, there's nothing really
Um,
interesting that people are saying.
yeah. But this is the biggest percentage right now. I mean,
Yeah.
much element of surprise are becoming less and less. I mean, to a degree, I understand that there are so many silhouettes that have been done, so many things that have been done in fashion that it's very difficult at this point to create, but still there is a lot of space for innovation.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And I mean, it has to be the clothes, what like are we seeing? And then I'll discuss with you later. I think it's very interesting also how sometimes styling can be a little bit deceiving because if you cannot see beyond the styling, sometimes it's just styling.
Yeah.
And that's the power of styling, when you just go and analyze the clothes themselves. If you have that capacity, then you realize that sometimes the clothes themselves, if you see them hanging, they don't mean much, which
Yeah.
is also an interesting aspect to discuss.
And even sometimes the collection could be really good individually, but if the styling is off, it can make the whole collection
That's
look like incoherent.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's a like something we talked about with like JW Anderson's Dior collections, for example, where some of the looks, the styling is a bit off, and it almost like takes away from the look itself. And if you were to look at the pieces individually, it would actually be more interesting, and people would be more intrigued by it. So that's definitely something that's interesting. But anyway, what's the first collection you want to talk about? Drum
spring,
roll.
spring, summer, or fall, winter.
Spring summer. We'll start with spring summer.
My first Dior.
Okay.
Like I can tell
So
you, what are my very favorite ones. It was Dior, Dries Van Noten. I like both fall, winter, spring, summer, menswear, women's wear. I like everything from Dries Van Noten.
I know you wear a lot of Dries, and I know you even go into the store and stuff. So yeah, I wanna talk about Dries Van Noten because I think that not as many people talk about Dries.
Let's start from that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what have you enjoyed about like Julian and kind of what he's been doing at Dries? I mean, I think that it's really weird with all the debuts. I think that Julian and maybe Michael Ryder were like the most seamless transitions where it almost felt like there wasn't like a crazy, you know, change in direction from like what people are used to from the brand.
Yeah.
And I think that has like met people really well, to be honest. So yeah, let's talk about Dries. What did you love about Dries? What were you seeing? What do you like about Julian's work generally?
I think the fact already that he was part of the team, for those who don't know, Dries Van Noten plays a very important role. It shows that very often it's an important aspect um, to create like some kind of continuity for the clientele also, because like we were saying, I think we were discussing that when you shift so sharply to another complete vision, you're changing the clientele very very quickly as well, and that creates a lot of confusion, especially if the designer doesn't stay for a long time. So in that case, I think it just reinforces. It brings like it's like a fresh Dries. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
Dries is always fresh, but it's another point of view, which is like still Dries, but in a different way, and that's very difficult and interesting to do. I think he does the work in a fantastic way. He made it more contemporary. I would say a little bit more youthful in a way. Not that Dries is But like the clientele of Dries very often is like
It's older,
mature,
definitely.
older women that,
Yeah.
they want to dress nicely with beautiful clothing. They want to try something interesting, but not a very, difficult, or like not a silhouette that is too challenging or demanding, but still it stays beautiful and high quality. It's always high quality. This is what I love about Dries. Whatever I have and whatever I see in the store is always so well made. Even the stores themselves, they're fantastic. In Paris, there is one of each, like one, and they're like next to each other. There is one women's wear, one accessories like perfumes and lipstick and accessories, and one menswear, and they are all so well curated. Even the way it's decorated, it's fantastic. It reflects actually his own house in a way, and all the culture around what Dries Van Noten represents. So what I liked all collections. I like menswear. I liked both fall, winter, and spring, summer. I would say I like spring, summer more. If I want to talk about the clothes themselves, the pieces that I found interesting, the fall, winter, because I went to the store and I saw also they didn't have everything, but they had a lot of pieces. The fall, winter was a little bit like when you see it on the runway, it's very interesting. But when you see the pieces separately, they have like classic cuts, and
Yep.
I would dare to say even classic pattern making. The color. But the interesting thing is you can mix and match everything with everything. Also, that's very interesting in his brand. You can wear almost everything with everything. The colorways are always done so well. Um, I guess this is the first menswear, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I just realized, yeah, this did happen this year. It seemed like I can't believe that all of this work from Julian has all been this year. It's quite crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, this is the collection I'm talking about. Very beautiful accessories as well. Nice necklaces using leather. Um, Another interesting thing is that if you look at fall, winter, and spring, summer, the energy a little bit is different. Have you noticed that? Because it's a
Yeah.
different stylist.
Yeah.
I think this is Katie Barnett for fall, winter, and then it's Robbie Spencer for menswear and women's wear, which gives it a more. It has a little bit of a different energy to it, but the clothes follow the same principles and the same logic. What I liked about menswear in particular, he was a little bit more daring than Dries would do menswear.
100% agreed.
Like he used also this kind of scarf skirts with a blazer. It's a little bit daring, but in a good way. If a man, I wish more men would wear Dries. I don't see that much.
It's because we don't like to wear color.
Yeah. And it's also for a refined kind of man. Dries is not typical, it's not very manly, it's not feminine either, but it has like a subtlety to it always.
It's that Belgian sort of romantic
Yes, yes,
stylist poet thing that like
yes,
Dries does, Andermelemeister does. They kind of, when they design menswear, it always tends to give that sort of energy in
yeah,
different ways. But yeah,
yeah. So, I mean, there is nothing much to say in terms of like the footwear was also very cute. He did these sneakers for men and women, which are very beautiful. Um, Of course, a lot of flowers, a lot of beautiful embroidery that he always does, but like the cuts are a little bit different, so that makes it more contemporary, I would say, for women's wear and menswear collections. All pieces are really beautiful.
what do you think about the general rise in popularity of Dries and Noten? I think over the past year or so, I've seen more people online talk about Dries than I've ever seen before. Probably because of like the sneakers that are going really crazy right now. So, what do you think about the fact that more people are being introduced to the brand and are learning about the brand? They're learning about the Antwerp Six.
I think it's a little bit too late. Like Junior, that people discovered him 20 years late after he did 20 years of work, work. And somehow people realize, ah, there is somebody who is, I don't know. It's so interesting that these great designers with so much work that have been they have put and they have created such beautiful clothes. They start to be known only today, and through footwear again. I mean, through accessories. It's so interesting that
Right.
it always enters through through accessories. I find it funny almost, I don't know what to say about this, how to comment on that, because he has been such a great designer, and the clothes are relatively easy to wear. Like you can
Yeah.
have pieces that you can wear relatively easily, but there is always like this little aspect that he works on the details that make them contemporary and very beautiful. He creates that balance without being very loud. And of course, he's a master of color. I mean, if you want to go for color, you go for Dries Van Noten. I mean, without any doubt. Um, he's
And
and flavor.
something I really love about Julian too is like he has all those Dries Van Noten signatures. Even like you said, it's more contemporary. But you can see like Dries Van Noten had a really interesting use of color. People who I actually used always love their use of color is Heider Ackerman and Dries Van Noten the most. I
Yeah,
really love the way that both of them use color.
yeah, yeah,
Dries, like, he normally mixes like different kinds of fabrics. Heider does that too.
yeah,
Mixing different materials to create some sort of like sensuality. That's why you'd have like Dries would pair like a velvet suit with a wool coat and then leather shoes. It's just kind of creating all these different textures.
yeah.
Even on the screen, you can see the different prints and patterns. The silhouette is relaxed. That's kind of what we know as Dries. The layering, that's another thing, a styling thing that we would always see from
Yeah.
Dries. We see it with Julian once again. So I've honestly loved that. Even that poetic energy, especially in the menswear, that definitely came through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's great.
Hey, just that Ackerman. For me, they're the two people. Also, I completely agree with you on color. Ackerman, I would say his silhouettes are a little bit different. That's the like he doesn't use that much of loose silhouette, not much
Yeah,
layering. He's a little bit more how to say. It's not minimalistic because he's also using texture
the
as well.
textures and the color. Yeah, it's
Or
less layering and
less
it's a
layer.
bit more sexy. It's not the silhouette is definitely not as
Exactly. Yeah,
relaxed.
this is more fluid. This is more relaxed silhouettes always. Yeah, this is very Dries. Beautiful draping also. I mean, yeah, it's and high quality clothes. That's very important too. As you can see on the runway, they look very
Yeah.
very high end, and when you see them up close, they are like that.
Yeah, Luke. Haida does layering in terms of like the different textures that I was talking about with Dries, but it's definitely not as much as Dries.
Yeah, no,
Like
he does
Dries
much.
layers a lot. Like,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. But yeah, I think it was a really strong year from Dries. To be honest, I like what Julian is doing. I think that they definitely picked the right person. I also like that he's not like he wasn't a big name appointment when he was appointed, but I think he's just kind of fit in seamlessly. Whereas we've seen a lot of big names go to places, and maybe it's not been as great. Whether that's Valentino, for example, or like many other brands.
Yeah, yeah, I
So yeah,
totally.
let's shift our gears to Dior. So what are your thoughts on? I guess we can just start in chronological order. So what are your thoughts on Dior? Kind of what JW Anderson has done this year, in terms of his collections.
Uh, the very first collection, the menswear, I was not, when he started, I was not that impressed. I had some little doubts, but when I saw the women's wear, it started growing on me, and like with the trust I have on this designer and the love I have for him, I'm like, okay, I think he's going to do well. You commented last time and you said it's better maybe to have less looks, which I
Yeah.
agree. There is no need. Some looks were a little bit empty or repetitive. There is no need for that. And that's another thing. Like when they're presenting, I don't know, 8, 70, 80 looks, I think this is already too much for any brand. But I
You
don't
can't
need,
even you can't even concentrate on what they're trying to
you cannot
present because
so
it's
much.
too much.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if there is a strategy behind that. There is a reason, specific reason for that. Do you know if there is a specific reason for brands presenting so many looks, like a
I
marketing?
just think I just think they think it works better. Like they
Ah,
think,
really?
or or maybe because they spend so much money on the shows, if you don't have many looks, then the show is just kind of gone really quickly. Maybe they think about things like that. But in terms of like taking in the collection and critiquing it and reviewing it, it makes it a lot more difficult. And it also takes away from the clothing because, to be honest, I think that like in a women's wear collection, they'd have the same look in three different colorways, and it's like I think we understand the idea behind this look. We don't need to see it two times more in different colorways.
Yeah. Yeah, because then it will start looking also like a little bit like a catalog. You know, you can buy this in this color and this color and this color.
What do you think about the continuity between all the different collections? Like here, we're seeing the capes. Obviously, in his debut menswear collection, as you guys are seeing, there
Yeah,
was this
yeah,
big idea of like, you know, mixing the modern with stuff from a time past. So mixing like 17th and 18th century menswear silhouettes, and he talked about how he was going through the archives and he had a lot of archive 17th and 18th century menswear, which he referenced and tried to mix it with very modern things that we know J.W. Anderson for, like the denim, like the sneakers, also like the Basquiat thing with the ties and the collar detail. That when he was doing before the show, he had those images that were coming out on Instagram where he
yeah.
was showing all of that sort of stuff. You have the waistcoats referencing that time, and he's kind of pushed that forward into the women's wear collections and the menswear collections. Since what do you think about all of that?
I'm very excited about this because I would love to see how a designer interprets other centuries into today without making it look like a costume, without making it look like historical clothing. I mean, Galliano did it a lot, but he was still much, much closer to the original clothes. Vivian Westwood also. I think these are the ones that come first to mind for me. He does it in a very playful and light way. Like he subtracts, like he does take some elements. But for example, he takes these folds and then he puts it into shorts, long shorts. So it's in cotton, and like that is so interesting. You wouldn't
Yeah,
expect to see this kind of folds in that kind of piece. He doesn't put it on a on a taffeta dress. So this kind of play is very interesting, and I want to see more of that. And I would definitely wear this kind of clothes for sure. And it's so interesting because of that kind of I mean, historical clothing has so much richness and
yeah.
wealth in details and embroidery and like how they were making sleeves and I mean, there is so much, but it's difficult to bring it to today. So I find it very interesting.
Yeah, I would also say that when he has referenced like historical clothing, I have preferred those looks to the over contemporary ones that he does, where it's just like denim with some sneakers and like a shirt and a tie, which I find really mundane to be honest.
Yeah, of
But
course it is.
anytime he starts to reference like the past clothing, I think it looks a lot better, and I like the looks where he
Yeah,
does
like
that.
here, for one example, we just saw like a little skirt in denim, but the way he put it is very relaxed, and then the fantastic hat, and then the jacket. It looks so in styling wise also.
Yeah,
I mean, if you see, of course, the denim skirt hanging at Dior is like nothing, but like this is an example of how the styling also can bring like something very fresh and a new kind of approach. Of course, if you see the jacket by itself, it's a beautiful piece. So not to say that, but the
yeah,
way it's put also in my like this skirt as well. I mean, these are very beautiful pieces in my opinion. Very interesting. This was my very favorite.
yeah. I think the women's wear definitely had a lot of nice pieces compared to the menswear collection.
Yeah, he needs to develop that more because I mean, I like Dior's uh, Kim Jones Dior is very much, especially the last collection was so beautiful. I
That
like what
was
he's
great.
doing. It's more like very elegant and high end and beautiful fabrics. like not necessarily silhouettes that were, but I liked what he was doing. I was a fan of him. But let's see what he will do, J.W. Anderson, on this. I think he will develop very well. He did that with Loewe.
Yeah.
That's why I trust him, because he showed collection by collection that he can create more layers and make it more and more interesting.
And with
To
Loewe, obviously people will forget, but it's not like he just hit the ground running immediately and he was like everyone was just ranting and raving. It took
cannot
like
always do that
some
these days. It's
time.
almost impossible to do that from the first collection.
Yeah.
But there has to be something interesting to start with, and here I think is the case.
Agreed. And I mean, ultimately, we're talking about it. The worst case scenario would be it's so like mundane or boring that you stop talking about. Like I've stopped talking about Alessandro Michele's Valentina for that reason, right? I
Yeah,
just think there's nothing really interesting to really talk about
yeah.
when it comes to it. So I'm just like, should I even cover it for better or worse? I just won't. Which is the worst thing that can happen.
But now that we talk about Loewe, if we can quickly review it, like even say two words about it,
Of course.
I think I don't like what I see. I like them at Prenza. They were very good. I like what they were doing. Now I don't like what's happening at Prenza, and I don't like what they're doing at Loewe because it's like a watered down version of J.W. Anderson. So weird.
Yeah, without the risk, without the
Without
world building. I also think so. This is what I mean about like with a runaway show, everything has to play a part, whether that's the set, whether that's the music, whether that's the lighting,
yeah,
everything. And when you look at this set, considering the world building that J.W. Anderson was doing, which was very, art related, it was very surrealist at points to have just pure white background with a wooden floor, it's too stripped back. And then on
yes,
top of it, the silhouettes are not daring enough. It's almost like playing it safe, but they're not really. Because
yeah,
over here, for example, they're trying to do the hourglass shape, but they're not doing it as extreme as J.W. Anderson would do it. So they're kind of somewhere in the middle, and it's kind of like they don't
yes.
know where they want to be. Do they want to play it safe or do they want to be really creative? It's almost like they haven't even decided themselves.
I think they want to play it safe because that's what they can do. In what sense? I mean, if you if you can be really creative, you can not play it safe. If you play it safe, it's because you cannot go to the extremes that some other designers would go to, you know.
Right.
And so, I mean, I'm not to say that they're not good designers; they are. But the problem is here again the same. Like you have Jeff W. Anderson developing Loewe like this, and then somebody else comes. So what will they say that will make us put them on the same, level? Because you're going to compare for sure. You cannot not compare. If somebody does exquisite collections and then somebody else comes, of course you're going to compare. And even this looks very J.W. Anderson, to be honest. This skirt.
Yeah. I
Is
think
a
the issue with them though is that when I think of Prenza School, I think of a brand that's very safe, but nice. Like
yeah,
really nice aesthetic. People that wear it look good, but it's like if you come to Loewe or any big brand, to be honest, there has to be a level of world building
yes,
that you
exactly.
have to create. And I just hadn't seen any of that at Parenza. So they're almost going to have to do what they've never done at Loewe, to be honest, if they're going to build Loewe into like this major brand in the way that JW Anderson did.
Yeah. I don't think it will happen, to be honest with you. Not to say that you don't give the designers a chance to prove themselves, but like you can have a taste from the first collection, a little taste. You can have like you see you're saying it. It looks like they're trying to play it safe, but it looks a little bit like Loewe, previous Loewe. So you can already feel the atmosphere, what is going to happen, more or less. Maybe they will surprise us. Let's see, but
Yeah.
usually doesn't happen. You see early on, like the same for Dries. You see, we saw it's he showed very quickly where he's heading. Yeah. And there is a lot of styling also that tricks you a little bit into, it's contemporary, of course. But yeah,
Yeah, the like jelly translucent
yeah,
shoes.
okay. Could be interesting. I mean, of course, some pieces for sure, close up if you see them, because I cannot judge the construction from here. Could be definitely they're going to be interesting pieces, but that makes the collection important or something significant? No.
Yeah. And that's why I always tell people like is those are two different conversations. One conversation is, people will wear it and people look good, and another conversation is like, is it pushing fashion forward, and if no, what does that
Yeah,
mean for the legacy of the designer? Because I as a journalist always think about narrative. So I always think about who are the designers that we will write books about in 10 to
yeah,
20 years. I might even end up writing one of these books. And like, you know, what are the stuff that they're doing now
yeah.
that will be relevant for us to write about in 10 to 20 years? So that's the narrative thing I'm always talking about.
100% I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Someone says the best of 2025 was Junior Watanabe. I mean, Junior had some really amazing shows.
Yeah, but well, we can talk about Junior as well, like spring, summer, or fall, winter. I have an opinion on that, and
It's just very sculptural. So it's like,
I, like then that's another thing, that's like a collection that in
not a lot of
reality
clothing.
clothes.
Yeah,
It's like creating like a kind of art piece. So I don't see the point in that. But I mean, it's like fall winter. It's very interesting, and but it's wearable also. Spring
yeah,
summer is wearable. Then, but this is this a collection then? You see what I'm saying? Because like this, we go into art more and in constructing interesting silhouettes that you can do in an editorial as well. By the way,
yeah,
the items using different items and creating. Issei Miyake for women's wear, he did the same, and like recent, like spring summer for women. Uh, so I'm not particularly interested by collections that start looking like not clothes at all. There still has to be like a
right.
little bit like some pieces have to be more wearable. I mean, these are not my favorite collections of his, anyways. But at the same time, what can you say? I mean, their legacy is already, they've already proved themselves, these designers. Like,
Yeah, I don't think
yeah,
Junior
what
Watanabe has anything
yeah,
left to
it's
prove.
not good. Like he has done already fantastic things like 10 years ago when people were not even like the amount of things when I discovered from his archives of early collections, the wonderful things that he did. So what can I say about Junior? Nothing. Or
Right.
in that sense. But like collection is a collection. Of course, it's much more wearable. But I never look at Junior menswear. I don't know why I find it. Um, they have very specific silhouettes and they're much more wearable. But the women's wear is the interesting thing to
Yeah,
watch,
agreed.
right? So yeah, when it's so such a construction piece, I don't want to talk about because we're not talking about clothes anymore. But he's
Yeah,
junior.
agreed.
Not so much. What can he? Eventually, he will do that as well. I mean, in that sense,
But
and
then
that's
again, it's interesting though, because obviously Junior comes from that Comme des Garçons school of thought.
yeah,
But the funny thing about like Rei Kawakubo herself is a lot of her collections look really like artsy, but they're actually really wearable. So
yeah.
like you would see like let me find Com for example just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Like if you look at the mainline collections, sometimes they can look very like crazy, but
But
actually they're just
yeah, yeah. Some of them, not all, but often they can be very, yeah, they can be wearable. But it depends who wears them. But I mean, it's not the easiest thing to wear, but it is. Yes, sometimes it's wearable. I agree.
Yeah, I think what because I have so much experience with com, I have friends that wear com. So what com does, like, let's go on this collection for example. What she
Mm,
likes to do is she likes to create volume by merging different garments together, right?
yeah.
So literally, this here could be separate pieces.
Yes.
So like these pieces here, then it's not like a one piece.
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes she'll like take 10 skirts and make it into a sculpture. And then when you go into the store, all you see are just the 10 different skirts. You can't actually buy the sculpture. So a lot of times when you go into the stores, you're like, oh my God, this stuff is so good. But then on the runway show, it looks like an art project, but I don't think it's actually representative of like the clothing itself or how it wears.
Yeah.
So that's something I've always found really interesting about like Rei Kawakubo.
It,
So and it's quite funny that Junior is now going in this kind of like new Comme des Garçons direction where it's like less wearable, more sculptural, more artsy. I think they're just having so much fun. They make so much money. Like Comme des Garçons makes so much money at this point from like Dover Street Market and the fragrances and Play and Comme des Garçons Black that they honestly could just do what they want. I think they're just
and,
having so much fun
and
now.
I thought, I mean, if somebody deserves to do whatever they want and we still love them, it's them. Because, like, this
Yeah,
design, early on, they have done so much. Like, these and Martin, like, the Japanese in particular, they have done so much. But, like,
yeah,
what are we to ask from them? They were well ahead of their time, anyways. They have created beautiful things.
yeah.
So, of course, at this point, I will always love Comme des Garçons. There is no doubt about that.
Same. And I always love Junior too. And Junior, like, even down to like the money stuff, like Junior collaborates with like Carhartt and Levi's, and all of that stuff flies off the shelves. And it's actually really nice. Like, I
Yes,
would wear a lot of that stuff. So yeah, when it comes to the mainline, they can honestly just do their sculptural pieces and, do that kind of stuff. Someone is
exactly.
talking about Noir, Kane and
Of
Amir. I
course.
think I think Kane and Amir actually is more wearable than like, well, at least now, than like mainline com
Yeah.
or like mainline junior these days at least. Because when you see it, but K once again coming from that Comme des Garçons school of thought, it's the same thing I'm talking about. It's like on the runway, it looks really sculptural, but like because I go to Dover Street Market all the time, they're all separate pieces.
Yes.
So they'll all be separate pieces, and then you can style them in very interesting ways. So
Exactly.
it's not as crazy as it actually looks. Like
Yeah.
this will just be like the blazer and that fastening bit on the top, and
Ex-
then like
That's
the dress could come separately.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a very calm kind of logic. So they follow that, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. But I think K is a lot more wearable there.
Mm, yeah, wonderful collections always. Also, yeah.
But I love K. I'm more a fan of K because K does actually really crazy design techniques like seamless dresses.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost like K always challenges themselves with like pattern making and construction. That's where my interest for the brand comes more so than like whether it's wearable, it's not wearable, to be honest. I
And you
like,
unconventional material for that as well. Not that
yeah,
much more focused on creating this kind of bioforms always, like cocooning kind of forms. So it's very distinct also to Junia. Yeah, of course she's a they're all technical geniuses.
yeah. But that's what I'm more intrigued with K. I think about like the actual like techniques and construction. I'm always
Ye-
like when I go to DSM, I'm like looking at the clothing clothes, like, oh, this is really interesting.
Yes,
The
yes,
way he's constructed it. So yeah, I find that really fascinating.
I agree.
He said that's how I feel about Junior. He's the expert pattern cutter. Yeah, Junior basically taught a lot of the Comme des Garçons. Who, are we going to call them minions, apprentices? extensions, whatever you want to call them. Junior was the one that taught a lot of them how to do pattern making, to be honest. He
Mm.
helped all of them with pattern making. And like so many people have come from that Comme des Garçons school of thought. It's like endless. Like Juno
Yeah,
Watanabe, Tao Kurihara, um, Chitose Abe, of course, Junichi Abe, Kane and Amiya. There's like so many people, right?
yeah.
Yeah, disciples. That's a good way to put it.
Type, yeah.
The
True.
Comme des Garçons disciples. Um, but yeah, what other collections really intrigued you, or what brand had collections that intrigued you this year?
Tom Ford,
Okay.
definitely. Both fall, winter, and spring, summer. And he's going to do great, and he's doing great. He knows what he's doing, has a specific vision of his own. The way it's presented also visually is very interesting, especially the spring summer collection. Very theatrical. I mean, it fits the whole, is what you were saying. He took care of everything.
Yep.
All the elements are there. From the casting, the hair. I mean, it looks so, like,
The
so
set, even
forward.
even the lighting, like the lighting, especially in the more recent collection, kind of was supposed to look like a club in a way.
Yeah, yeah,
With the spotlights and the like dark background, which is like giving this whole partying vibe. It's funny because with the first collection, Hyder Ackerman was like, "Oh, Tom Ford is the night and I'm the morning after." But then it seemed like in the more recent collection, he kind of leaned into being the night. So he's coming closer to Tom Ford in a way. It's really strange.
yeah, yeah, yeah. True. I agree. Yeah. I mean, very beautiful silhouettes, very well made. You can tell it's Ackerman. Ackerman is like sharp, nice kind of cutting. You can. I mean, you don't need to see the clothes. I want to tell you that. Like when people say you need to see the clothes close up, it depends on your eye, of course. But like sometimes you can see
Yeah,
from your screen the quality because you can see the movement, how the texture, how it's cut on the shoulder, on the neckline. Like you can see these things.
yeah.
You can tell it's well made. So beautiful collection, both of them. Even the eyewear that I checked actually, I really liked it. And I mean that I want to tell you that like he started creating also the perfume, the eyewear that goes with this whole aesthetic, which is very interesting. That everything
I
goes to
also I also like what he did with the footwear,
the
like
foot.
because Hyder Ackerman is known for like these really pointy boots.
Yes,
So he
yes,
took a lot of really common Tom Ford silhouettes and just kind of made them a lot more pointier and made more
yes,
pointy silhouettes.
yes, yes.
So he's kind of changing things ever so slightly, but still making them his own in a way. That's what I
Yes,
really appreciated from him.
yes. I mean, he's a master when it comes to working in detail. I saw that when he did the Gautier couture also. You can tell
Right.
how well he knows how to make good clothes. You can say that, and that's so important for a designer because you at this point there are not many new silhouettes you can create, but you can work on detail. It's all in the detail, which makes it harder, of course.
Yeah.
I love the casting. I have to say, the faces he chose of the hair, I love that.
Yeah, I just love the hair. I like what he did with the hair. It does give a very like eerie vibe in a way, which kind of leans into the sort of nightlife clubbing sort of thing.
Mm. Yeah,
A
there's
lot of
something
people.
strict
Luke,
about.
did you say you don't like the casting? Why didn't you like the
No,
casting?
I love the casting.
No, I did it. Someone in the chat is saying that they didn't like the
Didn't
casting.
like the casting. They were too aggressive, the faces, maybe, they're too sharp. But for that aesthetic, this is beautiful. Very sharp faces, but it helps a lot with the whole collection to use the right faces as well.
Yeah, and then the spring summer. I think to me, Hyder Ackerman's Tom Ford was definitely one of the standouts of the year. If I was to think of like this year of all the like, especially the bigger brands, who did I think had a strong showing? I would say definitely Dries Van Noten. You had Hyder Ackerman at Tom Ford. I think you had Michael Ryder at Celine. I thought that he, especially from a styling perspective, he's going to like change the way a lot of people dress, let's say over the next 5 years. Luis Trotter at
Yep.
Bottega. So, and obviously we'll get into those, but like I would put Heider Ackerman's Tom Ford with all of those brands, especially this year.
What did you say? You asked me something. I didn't hear that.
No, I said I would put Heider Ackerman's Tom
Ah, definitely.
Ford
Yes, yes.
with a lot
Yeah,
of those other brands, especially this
yeah,
year.
yeah. Yes, yes. It's so funny. He uses the blazer. He styled the blazer the way he styles it on himself. He just does that always.
Yeah.
The lapels are up. It's so interesting. But that's so charming. I mean, he made the lipstick also, the perfume, Black Orchid with
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton. It all goes, and it's marketing wise, it's brilliant also because he wants to
100%.
sell that kind of woman. That kind of woman who wears this kind of clothes and this kind of shoes and wears that lipstick, which of course marketing wise is great. And the clothes themselves are fantastic. I would wear these dresses. They're so beautiful.
And I think it's such a stark contrast to when it was first announced that he was doing like Canada Goose collections, and people were like, why is Heider Ackerman doing Snow Goose and this kind of stuff? And then once he got announced at Tom Ford, it's like, okay, now he's designing like
Yeah.
fashion, like fashion with a capital F. Because yeah, it was really weird when we were seeing the Snow Goose stuff.
I don't know why. I mean, he has done, was it in his own brand? Like a few years ago, he has done like I think he presented in Manchester or something. It was a very unexpected place where he did like this technical wear, more sportswear.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? I don't know if it has any connection with that or why they chose him. I mean, I like the campaign of Canada Goose, and I think the clothes are not bad for what they represent. But of course, Heiger Ackerman, he can do much more than this, definitely. And he did.
agreed. Those Snow Goose jackets are sick though, but skiers won't buy them. Yeah, they're nice, but then it's like the price
What's the
is
price tag
like
for?
they're expensive. They're really expensive. I remember covering them. I can check quickly, but I remember they're like really expensive, and it's like if you're gonna spend that much on Canada Goose, you might as well just buy like something even more chic, um, than like
Fair.
Snow Goose.
Everybody will attack me for that. I said it anyway. I'm not against fur when it's used correctly.
Yeah, like 1,600 for a reflective anorak.
Yeah.
Um,
Like for the
yeah,
warm ones, like the other jackets, what is because an anorak is
yeah. The big ones should be more expensive. Although this is like a new collection, I haven't actually seen this collection. It seems like those are the warmest ones they have. So they don't even have like jackets that look that warm, to be honest.
oh really? I mean the campaign
Yeah,
is this.
yeah. I
I mean
mean,
they're
they've
just
got a parka.
mm, yeah, this is light.
It all looks really light, to be honest.
Mm.
If you're wearing this in the Arctic, you're probably going to get frostbite if this is all you have on.
Suffering for fashion.
It's fashion, baby. It's fashion, darling. Frostbite? What's that? um, anyway,
Oh my god. Yeah.
moving on. Obviously, a brand I really want to talk about is Celine,
Yeah.
which
I want to hear your opinion on that because I don't have a very clear opinion in my head about this collection, to be honest.
right. I think so with Michael Ryder and Celine. I think actually the first one for me to put up should be his debut collection because I think that really tells the story correctly. So let me just put that on the screen actually. Yeah, this collection. So obviously Michael Ryder was at Celine when Phoebe Philo was there. He was like design director at Celine. So a lot of the stuff that Phoebe Philo was responsible for making whether it's the really famous bags like the Phantom bags, whether it's a lot of the accessories. He was a big part of building those things. So I
Hmm.
think in coming back to Celine, it was almost like him reclaiming his own signatures and really bringing back a lot of those Phoebe Philo things. Like we got the Phantom bags back. We're seeing he's made tote bags that they're calling the flat cabal, which is kind of like that same sort of thing. He turned them into like a smiley version. The styling is very distinctive. I mean, what Phoebe Philo was famous for was the styling. Like women would buy Phoebe Philo Celine as like a whole outfit. So what you would see on the runway or the looks on the runway, customers would come into the store and be like, "Yeah, look three,"
Look, yeah,
because people trusted Phoebe Philo's styling to that extent. So I think that's why there's such a big focus on styling.
which is a great
With
success, by the way, for somebody to go
exactly,
by the whole look. Marketing wise, it's fantastic.
exactly. So that's why there's such a strong focus on styling and trying to like push different propositions of how exactly you can wear
Yeah.
Celine. I mean, Celine is a brand that I'm a big fan of. I mean, I've been to their factory. I got invited to their factory in Florence.
Mhm.
Well, their factory and also like their atelier, where they
Yeah.
actually like make the stuff for the runway shows and all that sort of stuff, and to see like the archive and all the stuff that they're working on and the way they work. I think everything is really, really great, to be honest. Um, so yeah, I just think it's going to be strong. I think the accessories, a lot of people are going to wear that. I think it's pushing people in a certain direction. We've seen it also from JW Anderson's Dior, this sort of antique style of accessories. What I
Mhm.
will say though is that the first collection was a bit all over the place in terms of like all the different ideas, whereas I think that in the second collection it was a bit more refined and it was a bit more streamlined and it was a bit more clear the exact aesthetic of Michael Ryder Celine. I think with this first collection, some looks were a bit Eddie Slimane, some looks were a bit Phoebe Philo, some looks were in the middle. It was a bit confusing.
But this is normal, you see. For example, like in the second, like you need one or two collections, and then if the designer has already a vision, you're gonna see it. Like maybe not fully in the first, but in the second, you will start seeing clearly. Because if he sees clearly what he wants to say or she, you will also, with the eye that you have and the experience, you will see it as well. So that's great. It will do well,
Yeah.
it seems then, yeah, in terms of selling, I guess. Yeah.
I'm just loving the hair. I like the crooked styling. Yeah, it's all over the place, but it's refreshing in a way.
That's crooked. What?
It's also something I really noticed this year where a lot of designers were trying to force kind of people wearing things around their neck more. So JW Anderson had the bows at Dior and the ties. You had the likes of Celine. They had the scarves on so many looks, trying to force people into wearing scarves around their neck. So across a lot of collections, I did see a lot of brands trying to, push different kinds of accessories. I think they've realized that they've pushed sunglasses, belts, and footwear into the ground, and now they're just trying to use styling to, push people to buy different kinds of accessories.
Yeah, it would
Luke,
be
that's
good.
great. Subliminal messaging, they want us to hang ourselves. Oh my god. Luke is such a savage. Oh my god, that's so funny. Um, but yeah, I have found it funny with Michael Ryder's Celine though. A lot of like Phoebe Philo fans, which once again, this goes back to like why I'm always crashing out about the row. Um, People claim that they're Phoebe Philo fans, and then
Mm.
they hop on the internet and say that Michael Ryder is just copying Phoebe Philo Celine, and it's like you're a fan of Phoebe Philo and you don't even know that Michael Ryder was an important part of Phoebe Philo's team when she was at Celine. It's like, so how are you a fan of Phoebe Philo then? It's like people that say I'm a fan of the row, and then they don't even know like where their inspirations come from. Like Yoji Yamamoto. I don't know. Maybe because like when I say I'm a fan of a brand, like I say I'm a fan of Star, for example.
Mm.
Like where I'm like obsessed with it. Maybe some people when they say that they're a fan of a brand, they're using the term really loosely. Because
Yeah,
I
of
did
course.
find the discourse around like Michael Ryder copying Phoebe Philo Celine a bit stupid when he was designing the clothes at the time.
He's copying himself in a way.
Yeah.
Good. Good for him. That means he's consistent. Yeah, I mean, people use that word. I'm a fan of a brand. I mean, they would not go to the depths that you would go, you know. Well, they should. Um, it depends from which position they're talking.
Yeah, Michael obviously has influence from Ralph Lauren too, but like obviously people were drawing comparisons with like very specific Phoebe Philo Celine pieces.
Yeah,
So that's why I was just like, you guys, this is like and it'll be like Celine dedicated pages saying stuff like that, and I'm like, you're a Celine page. You don't even know that Michael Ryder was literally designing those collections with Phoebe Philo at Celine. That's crazy.
that's bad. No. Yeah. You're not
Because
just.
they're purely fans of her and the mystique that her work carries. Fair enough.
Mm.
Some people think a brand is just the creative directors. They never thought of design teams existing. Yeah, especially because it wasn't like Michael Ryder was some like junior designer. He was literally a design director. Like he was a super important part. If he was just like some intern, it would be very. If he was interning at Celine, it would be different.
Yes, yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be a bit performative in a sense. Okay, what other collections really interested you?
Bottega.
Yes, let's talk about Bottega. I've already done my reviews and given my thoughts, so I really want to know what you think about Bottega and just Louise Trotter's what she's been doing at Bottega.
I think is. I really enjoyed this collection on so many ways. I like the accessories a lot. Again, there was this weird leather, knitted leather thing that she like a collar by itself, which I love. I found very interesting. I like the texture that she used, the silhouettes a lot. Um, what else can I say? It's very. I mean, the I like Bottega in general with different creative directors, to be honest. Each one
Yeah,
brought different things, and I think she's on the same level with the previous ones. So for me, she represents a very modern woman. I like the dresses, the construction in general. You can tell they're beautiful clothes, and there is innovation in there on the details, of course. Um, what else can I say about that? Let me remember specific pieces of the collection. Uh, I like the styling. I don't know. I found it very, very grounded and very innovative at the same time. Not, I mean, not that it's like nobody, I think, can present something that we've never seen before. This is like almost impossible. But
yeah.
the detail as she worked, of course, because it's also is leather, it's a little bit tricky because some pieces might be leather, but they don't look like leather on the screen.
Yeah, she
That's
had those like really interesting techniques where she would make like fringes out of leather, but it would be like really
it's
tiny fringes.
oh,
So
yeah,
yeah, you have to look up close to really notice.
and
That was like a big technique that was
exactly,
in the collection. It was a lot about like fabric manipulation, which is what Bottega is. It's a lot about like materiality, to be honest, and like
yeah,
how you can transform different things. And of course, it's always about the leather. It's always going to be that. It's always going to be about the craft. Um, and I think she really brought that, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, like it reminds me a little bit of Jill Sander. I mean, recently Jill Sander, which is unfortunately the couple left. So now it's bad.
Maybe
But
we can talk
uh,
about that later, because obviously Simone Bellotti had his Jill Sander debut, which we can get to later. But
yeah,
I don't think I've have I talked about that on this channel yet. I don't think so.
I don't think you did.
Yeah, I don't think so. Um, but yeah, it's
If
also one big technique that they
terribly,
used.
hmm?
So I was just gonna say one big technique that they used in this collection that everyone was
Yeah.
talking about were those dresses that were made out of recycled fiberglass. That was really cool. Yeah, these
Ah, this
pieces
is
here.
fiber. Okay, so
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah. I don't know how wearable that is, or if it's like how it sits on the skin, underneath, if there is like a kind of lining for that. Like if it's really wearable and if I'm going to produce
yeah.
it, right?
She said she wanted it to have the feeling and the movement of fur, but it is actually recycled fiberglass. I want to know what that feels like on the
Yes,
skin.
exactly, yes.
And is it like how heavy is it also?
I wish they would produce these pieces because sometimes it's so disappointing. You see fantastic things, you get excited, and then they don't. You never see them. They don't
Yeah.
produce. And this is another thing sometimes with collections.
Wait, someone said Jill Sander lost control of the brand, a living tragedy. Yeah, Jill
Yeah,
Sander doesn't even have the rights to her own name. Like they bought the rights to her own name. She can't even trade as herself. She has to trade as like J plus or like Jill plus, Sander plus. That's why when she did the collaboration with Uniqlo, it was J plus. She can't use the name Jill Sander. She doesn't own the rights to her own name, which is insane, by the way.
it's insane. Yeah.
That's one thing about having a business that's named after you. If someone buys that business from you, you don't have the rights to use your own name. It's a bit crazy.
Ah, yeah, it is crazy.
Uni says I like the punk feel, the fiberglass pieces. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Let's
this is
talk
a good
about
collection, and if you can produce it, that makes it even better. I want, I would wear that. Uh,
yeah. Let me just bring up because I actually
but
want
like
to
this
talk
kind of
about
collection for me is difficult to judge, as you say, the technical aspect, because I'm sure close up there is much more than we can see. Like you said, the fiberglass or other things that she used. It's difficult to see what the fabric exactly is from here. But already looking at it, it's very promising, I think.
yeah. Even like what was it? There was like a cape also that was like you have to look closely to see the details. Um, Someone actually, when I did the initial review, someone was like, "Oh, those crocodile pieces are actually crocodile leather," which is quite interesting because those are
Yeah.
like really hard to do, especially in a coat.
Yeah. But I mean, very often, unless the techniques are very particular and new techniques, you can see if something is good or not. You said that, in the comment that it was talked about, like Jean-Paul Gaultier, that you were
Yep.
not there. I don't need to be there to see how bad they're made. I mean, you did the receipt, but me, I don't need to, and I'm sure you don't need to, because from the movement already and the way it's cut, you can tell it's not well made. I mean,
Yeah.
besides the silhouette and everything else, that, in my opinion, it looked way too cartoonish and gimmicky, and we go beyond clothes. There, it's like something else. But sometimes, we like on this collection, I would want to be there because it
Right.
is you will see up close beautiful clothes and how they're made. I mean, to a degree. Then you have to really go close and somebody explains to you how it's done. And I would like that brands do that, actually, to be honest with you. That there is like some kind of press release where like there is we know
Yep.
what the clothes are about, because otherwise we cannot fully appreciate. It might look
Yeah.
like a simple thing, but maybe it's not. So this is good in terms of technicality, how it's made, like not the details of it, but like what is the innovation in there. I would like to see that much more often instead of us trying to figure out what it is exactly. It's
Yeah.
so
To
describes
talk
it.
about, because obviously we're talking about good collections and bad collections. So a collection that really really confused me was Simone Bellotti's Jill Sander debut, and I'll tell you exactly why. As someone that's a fan of Simone Bellotti's work, so I was a big fan of what Simone Bellotti was doing at Bali,
Yeah.
and
I
at
was like,
Jill Sander, he
uh-huh.
did the exact same thing. Like I'm not exaggerating to you. I'm going to show you guys
Yeah,
what I'm talking about.
biometric thing.
So
So,
so
yeah.
this is Jill Sander on the screen,
Mm.
right? And then this is Bali before he left. What is the difference? Down to the color, the size of lapels, the shape of the suit, like everything is exactly the same.
It's
So
a
it's
shame
almost like
because,
he just did the same collection at Jill
I
Sander
mean,
that he did at Bali.
when you create a collection like this, what are you trying to say? There is nothing new. There is like, it's really a shame
Yeah,
because,
I was disappointed because it's like when you have a debut collection, there's supposed to be like a way that you're referencing, or maybe you're focusing on a specific part of the archive. And of course, there's a lot of Jill Sander archives in this collection, but he's done it in a very he did this collection the way that Ludovic de Saint-Saëns did Andermeester, where
yeah,
it looked really sexy and it didn't look like Andermeester, but actually everything that he referenced was from the Andermeester archive. But he
yeah,
took every tiny little sexy piece that he could find in the archive and threw it all into one collection, to the point where it almost took away from like the actual energy that you would normally get from an Andermeester collection. So this is what Simone Bellotti has done. He's basically been like, I'm going to look into the archives and find things that look exactly like how I would design it at Bali or anywhere else, and then I'm just going to make that the collection, which to me is not interesting in any way.
yeah. I'm so sad because Jill Sander was, they were doing fantastic work.
Okay, Luke says I actually like some of it. Did you like his Bali? Because it's the same collection. Literally the exact same stuff at Bali. Like, I'm not joking. Let me pause this. I'll just show you his last collection at Bali. I'm just gonna scroll through it just so you guys can actually see what I'm talking. I'm not exaggerating. This is his last collection at Bali, which I really like, by the way.
Mm.
So if you just take a look at this collection at Bali, and then when we go back to the Jill Sander collection, it will be quite clear. He said no, Bali was crap, but one or two of the dresses and suits here were all right. They felt authentically Jill. Yeah, but it's the same suit that he did at Bali. It's literally the same suit. Like,
Yeah,
it's the same silhouette, the same lapel, the same fabrics, literally.
yeah.
So you can't have one without the other, Luke.
What is there to be said about this? Nothing really.
Is it weird for a male designer to be taken over a female? No, it just
Mm.
depends on like what your aesthetic is, and kind of like if you actually care to like design good women's work. I don't think your gender determines, or your sex determines, if you can design for the other sex or gender. I don't think that matters. Like, I don't think any woman is going to come and say Alexander McQueen doesn't know how to make women's wear. It's just like no one's going to say that. So I think, and there are women that are menswear designers that people wouldn't say that about either. So I don't know. I just think it depends. It's a case by case basis.
Yes,
Some
yes.
men do design like they hate women. Like some men, the way they design is like, do you hate women or something? Like, so that
Objectify.
definitely that definitely is a thing. That definitely is a thing.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. It's case by case for sure.
Yeah. I'm just hankering for some sleek body hugging minimalism without overblown broad shoulders, which is all we really get now. Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. This silhouette, by the way, that Simone Bellotti has been doing at Bali and now Jill Sander, this
Yeah,
is what Because someone mentioned Veronica Leone, and we can talk about that. This is what I thought Veronica Leone's Calvin Klein was going to look like. And I think if her Calvin Klein looked like this, with a bit more of a focus on like the denim and stuff, I think she would have like it would have been amazing, to be honest. But I think I just don't understand what she's doing at Calvin Klein. I don't understand the aesthetic. I don't understand the vision.
Yeah, me neither. No, I mean, these collections, they don't deserve to be discussed because there is nothing to say. Okay, well, let's talk about minimalism, but it shouldn't look like the minimalism when it first started. You should do it in a today's kind of way.
Yeah.
Minimalism for the sake of minimalism doesn't mean, and it doesn't mean because you have a silhouette that has a broad shoulder that it's not minimalistic. Minimalism is not only in the shape; it's on so many levels.
Just this as an opening look is already a
Oh
taste
my
of
God,
shenanigans.
right? Yeah.
It's the first taste of the shenanigans we're going to get throughout the
How
collection.
how interesting.
But I personally don't. If someone, I'm open to being corrected. By the way, if anyone in the comment section is a big fan of Veronica Leone's work, please tell me what the vision is about because I just don't understand her vision for Calvin Klein. I don't even think that she has a silhouette that she's working with because you have looks like this that are really relaxed and like really, wide fitting, and then all of a sudden the next one will be like really tight. And it's like there's no cohesive silhouette, there's no
That's
cohesive aesthetic.
just it's like a random, almost like a random choice of things that they're put together, and you can feel that. Yeah,
Yeah, I just don't get it. I just
yeah.
personally
Maybe
don't get
because
it.
much to say to see. I don't think that you're mistaken in this. I have exact the same opinion as you on that. And like, what is this and why we're seeing this? I don't know. It's
And there's no like world building, there's no yes, the mess to be honest.
yeah, nothing
I don't
missing.
even to be honest, I don't even know why because I remember when Ras Simmons left, the
Yeah,
reason he left obviously is because it wasn't selling apparently. And they're like, we make all our money from underwear and denim. Anyway, this was kind of like a project to see if we could pivot into, the market that we used to have with our old designers when Calvin Klein collection was really big.
yeah.
But it just didn't work. So I thought actually that was like the last time we were ever going to see any form of Calvin Klein collection, to be honest. So even when Veronica Leone was, announced, I was quite surprised. I was like, I thought they're done with this whole trying to go back up market.
Yeah, I don't know why they want to revive Calvin Klein, but if they want to do it, there it should be a vision behind it. Otherwise, there is no point just reviving brands like this or keeping them alive. For what purpose? I don't know.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
There is so much of this
They're
already.
trying to go back to like the levels of like Narcisco Rodriguez or like
Oh my God.
Francisco Costa, like those kind of designers who I think actually do minimalism really, really well. But I think
Yeah,
it's just there's like see what I'm saying? Like look at a piece like this. Look at how relaxed
yeah,
um it looks alongside like really tight fit. It's just all over the place.
yes,
There's
exactly.
literally nothing for me to say about these skeletons. It's all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and there's not really any vision. They are opening a huge new store in Soho. Is that Calvin Klein? That's
Oh,
interesting.
okay.
Oh gosh. But yeah, anyway, put me out of my misery. um, Puts me out of my misery. I guess primary red and blue is a thing this season. It kind of was a thing across a lot of collections, to be fair. You are correct about that.
Mm-mm.
Press F to pay respects to Helmet Lang. Oh gosh. I think it's interesting no one calls Tom Ford a marketer anymore. All of my teachers and internship bosses called him that when I was in design school in the early aughts. Um, yeah, I mean, me personally, I've never looked at Tom Ford as like some like master pattern cutter or like some master tailor. I've never
Yeah,
looked at him like that. Like he's never been that. Tom Ford is a marketer. Like it's all about world building and branding and desire that he creates through his clothing. Um, and yes, he's not like McQueen or Galliano, but the clothes that he used to make were well made. Also, that helps.
yes.
Um, but yeah, that's interesting. What do people look at? How do people look at Tom Ford now? I thought that they still look at him as like a really big marketer. To be
Yes,
honest,
he is. Yeah, of course. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
yeah, I've always looked at him like that.
Yeah,
I've
me too.
never really, yeah. Tom Ford is not the kind of person that I think of when I'm like,
No, yeah.
yeah, like Comme des Garçons, Alexander McQueen, John Galliano, in that ilk, Yoji Yamamoto, Ray Kawakuya. He's not in that conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Tom Ford is definitely a more savvy businessman than a dressmaker. Yeah,
Yeah.
facts. Yeah, like a director, exactly. He's like the ultimate creative director. Oh, I meant that people see him as a talented designer, or at least that's the vibe in the chats. Really?
Uh,
I
hmm.
think I think Tom Ford is a good designer though. I wouldn't say he's a bad designer, but I think it just depends like talented designer compared to like who. So generally I would say he's a good designer in a general sense, but if we're talking about like who are the best designers ever, then he can't be in that conversation. Like I don't think he's anywhere near that conversation to be honest. So I think it just depends on like what relative to what are we calling him a talented designer. But I definitely will say he's talented for sure.
Yeah. But Ackerman, on the other hand, is good in marketing, I would say, but he's a great designer as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's both for Tom Ford.
Yeah, didn't how much did Tom Ford sell his I'm gonna Google it. How much was the deal? Okay, so he sold Tom Ford to Estee Lauder for $2.8 billion. So he's fine.
He's
Tom
fine.
Ford
Tom Ford, I
is
think he's fine since a while now. Yeah.
yeah, he's been fine for a long time anyway, since the Gucci days, but you know, he's
Yeah.
he's more than fine
Yeah,
now.
he's more than fine. We should be fine like this as well. Yes. He's very
He's a
fine.
multi-billionaire. I think he could care less about what's going on right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Who else?
Hyder and Tom are mirror versions of each other.
Not really.
I'm not sure I could say it. I think they're kind of like. So I would say Tom Ford is more marketer than like a talented designer. I'd say Hyder Ackerman is more talented designer and he
Yeah.
is a marketer. They're kind of there's similarities but in different weights and in different
Yes.
proportions.
Yes, exactly. I mean, Haider Ackerman is a proper good designer. He knows how to cut. He can do couture. He has proven
Yeah.
that. So it's a different discussion.
Okay, yeah. Agreed. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Tom has the strengths that Hyder lacks and vice versa. Oh yeah, agreed. Exactly what
yeah,
we said. We were saying the same thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Someone is asking, what do you do with 2 billion? Um, so if you
What's
have
the
$2 billion, if you invest all of it, let's say you make a 10% return. Sorry. That means every single year you'll make an income of 200 million. Now let's be, if we're being conservative and we say, okay, a 5% return, that means every year you're
Mm.
going to make a return of 100 million a year. So that means Tom Ford can easily invest all his money and live off 100 million every single year until he dies. Um, Now, what do I do with an earning of 100 million every single year until I die? I have no idea. I don't even know if I could physically spend that much money.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't. There's just so much money. He said, "I need this money."
Let's,
I
the discussion is deviating
I
elsewhere.
know it's deviating into Tom Ford's wealth. Guys, what other collections do you want us to talk about? Because I think we've covered the main ones that we really wanted to discuss. Oh, actually, a collection I want to get your thoughts on is the last Margiela collection. I'm curious to get your thoughts on that. Like it was, I believe the first ready to wear Margiela collection we've seen from Glenn. What were
Mm,
your thoughts on this? Actually, I'm curious. This was Glenn's second collection.
yeah. I like the idea of a children's orchestra playing. I really love that. I found that so sweet and like unprofessional in a great way, which is a very Margiela thing. Margiela already in one of his first catwalks, he had children running around. That was so beautiful. So I like that. But the collection itself, I cannot say I was impressed. But I was not expecting different things from Glenn, to be honest. That's what I was expecting from him. Things that
Mm,
are more wearable. He used the codes, of course. But does this say anything? I mean, maybe that we can buy again things that look like Margiela and we don't need to buy them as archival pieces. Maybe.
yeah,
I don't know. Is this a good thing? Maybe yes. In terms of people who love Martin, they can now wear already also things that look very much like Martin. But in terms of creativity and a personal point of view on how he interprets Martin, I think it was not successful. Uh, I didn't find it particularly exciting or interesting. It was very how to say that. I would say it was almost like quickly made, like
yeah,
easy collection, very easy collection. For sure, maybe there are going to be pieces that when you see close up, there might be interesting that I might have missed a few pieces. But like if we see at the overall collection, I'm not, like I mean, what for example this denim with the cotton, how they're called, like attachments, like these are
yeah.
such simple things that we have seen already. And I mean, all like I don't know. It's not much to say. I mean, it was very the mouth, like the piece, that Inge Gronya did on that. I found it funny, no, but I love her, by the way. She's my favorite
Yeah,
makeup. Who
I
doesn't know
love
Inge?
Inga.
They should know her. She's iconic. She has done Balenciaga. She has worked with Martin from the very beginning, from his bachelor collection, even, which I didn't know. She has worked with
Even she's worked with
Christian
Dries,
Dior.
yeah. Anzumenemeister, yeah.
Um, I mean, this is very much Glenn. This mouthpiece is like when we do teeth whitening. It reminds me of that a little bit. How we open our mouth like that. Is this a Margiela thing? No, but like it reminds me a little bit of, in terms of energy of his couture collection, his first couture collection. It has like this kind of a little bit dark aspect to it, a little bit of a horror, and but the clothes, the shoes, neither. I was not impressed by the shoes. That's another thing. There were no bags at all, I think,
You
but
know
that's
what
okay.
fascinated me about this collection actually?
Yeah.
It just made me think when I first saw this collection.
Uh,
that why is it that modern designers feel the need to use like shock factor to garner attention? And what I mean by that is like,
yeah,
what's the reason that Margiela did the stitches in the first place? It's to have like a recognizable signature that was a
yeah,
bit incognito, which is very in line with the house codes of the brand.
yeah,
So taking something that the philosophy of it is about being incognito and then plastering it front and center by like making a four stitch mouth guard is so 21st century. I don't know. It's just so like social
mm.
media designing for social media in a way,
Yes, yes,
where you're
exactly.
taking something that was not intended to be front and center and you're almost flipping that idea on its head. And now that can be done well. We've seen that with different designers, like Karl Lagerfeld would take Coco Chanel's philosophy and flip it on its head, but do it in a really interesting and fun way. But I
Yeah,
think that the difference is Karl Lagerfeld is like one of the greatest designers we've ever seen. And so the way he does it, it's just a bit more intelligent and a bit more intellectual than
yeah,
just having
exactly.
like mouth guards front and center.
Yeah,
So that was like the first thing that that came to mind when I thought about
yeah.
stuff like
This
that.
doesn't look intellectual. It looks like it's what you say. It's like a shock value. It's exactly that. It doesn't look intellect. It doesn't look intellectual, and that's what disturbs me with Glenn doing Margiela. Now, if it will sell, it might. It might do well, actually.
I think it will sell because like there's new people getting into fashion every day, and there's people
Yeah,
that will get into Margiela and they haven't been able to buy a lot of the pieces that they see in the archive. So I think this is like a good entryway for that.
yeah.
But besides that, there's not really much there. Wait, what did Luke say? What do you think about all the journalist Vanessa Friedman pearl clutching about the models wearing those mouth gimmicks? Some saw it as misogynistic, which is a reach since men wore them too. What
Yeah.
before I answer this, Luke, what was the argument that they were making for them being misogynistic? Because yeah, like men and women are wearing it, but if they had a good point, then I'm definitely open to listening. But I don't know what exact points were made.
Yeah. No, I don't. I don't. I think it's a bit far fetched to say it's misogynistic. Um,
Yeah, especially when like men and women are wearing it. Maybe they were looking at it from the perspective of like fetish, but like I mean,
yeah.
men and women do it's not like a singular
Yeah.
thing.
Exactly.
Let's see. They linked it to the Elias show and questioned if men were designing with real women in mind. Um, I mean, I know what you're talking about with like the Elia like cape, like the ones where the hands were kind of like restricted. I know what you're talking about. I think the Elia thing you could put into question more. You could ask that question a bit more than here. Um, I think it's less apparent here.
Yeah. But even the last collection at Alaya with like it felt more like a cocooning for me than a restricting thing. I didn't get that feeling at all. And I mean the way he designs, I don't feel has any misogyny in it. It's more
Yeah.
construction and he. I mean, it was not my favorite idea. Of He has presented much more interesting things, but like I wouldn't put it in that category.
Yeah, I do think though there is like it does seem like there's a section of the internet where it's like the tiniest thing. It's like that person shouldn't design for women or that person shouldn't design for men, especially when it's like let's say like a woman designing menswear. You'll see a lot of men being like, "Why are women designing menswear?" Da, da, da. And then vice versa. But I just
Yeah.
don't agree with any of those opinions. Like, I don't have any issue with like Wells Bonner designing menswear because I think
Oh
she does
yeah,
good menswear
definitely not. Or
and
Martin
she works
Rose.
with Savile Row tailors. Like, and the same thing with women's wear. Like, I think most people won't have an issue with Alexander McQueen designing women's wear.
Yeah.
So it just depends on who it is. I think we have to judge the merit of the clothing
Yes.
rather than like what gender is the person that's designing the clothes. Unless like there's something like really outrageous that they're doing, then obviously it's like relevant.
Yeah.
Let's
I
see.
mean, of
Without the
course,
mouthpieces, the clothes wouldn't be as interesting to me, honestly.
with the mouthpieces, they stay uninteresting. I mean, it's not.
She's like,
It's not
even
like
with the
mouthpieces
mouthpieces, it's
say
still.
how. I mean, you're gonna look at the clothes as well, regardless of the makeup or accessorizing or whatever. But so yeah, it's yeah, no, nothing much to say.
Yeah. Uni, can you expand on what you mean by women are marked, so it doesn't matter if men wore it too? Can you expand on that, just so I can understand where you're coming from?
Yeah.
This is just all too manufactured and pristine for it to feel authentically tethered to the philosophy of Martin Margiela. Yeah, and also Margiela is not supposed to be clean. It's not like
Yeah.
even the set. Like even if they're on an orchestra, like why isn't the set like kind of decaying in a way, or like why is it so? It's too clean. It's like Margiela is never that clean ever.
But
Margiela
to
is
be
supposed to be
honest, like
somewhat chaotic.
when everything was painted white, I guess that cleanliness comes from that. That they have all the furniture and then the walls, everything was in white. So I guess that's perceived as the clean aspect of Margiela. But I agree with you.
But so Margiela, the thing about Margiela is, okay, he used a lot of white, but I think people then, so like you'll see designers design at Margiela and then the whole set will be white. But it's like Margiela would have a decaying paper mache white.
Yes, yes,
It
yes.
wouldn't be just a plain white wall. It would be like,
Yeah.
yes, it would be white, but things would be kind of falling apart and falling on top of each other,
No,
and
because
like
I mean, if you
things.
think about it, the whole core of how he was even approaching clothes, everything was a process about the process. Like
Yeah,
what things become, like that's why you had the lining inside out, the
yeah,
stitching,
exposed
part of
stitching.
how clothes are made. Like it's a process. She loved that, like the process, the transitionary aspect of something. So yeah, in that sense, of course, it cannot stay clean and perfect. It has to
Yeah,
transform something else.
like he
That's
in his clothing,
uh,
he would highlight the chaos of like being a designer. Like he would have those pieces that are referencing like a Stockman mannequin, for example.
yeah, yeah,
So when you have a designer that designs in that way, it's like it should feel like chaos. It should feel like we're in a design studio. It should feel like, I mean, like look at the collection that this is referencing, right? With the kids running around. That
yeah,
was not planned.
yeah,
The kids
exactly.
were running around because they didn't have a lot of money to get like a fancy venue. So they just had to, find this like makeshift venue, and like there's kids running around, there's chaos, people don't know how to get there. That's like Margiela. That's the core essence of what Margiela is. You can't, and that's why it feels too contrived when it's just like there's clean white, clean curtains, clean floors. It's just not very Margiela. Clean composers. It's too clean for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's too clean. I hope it will not start looking like diesel soon.
Right. I mean,
Because
I can see some of the denim pieces kind of
yeah, that's
looking
what I'm
like
telling
diesel.
you. I don't want. But yeah, and I mean some like another thing is some of the pieces, the way they're made, like this black, for example, and this with the tape, they could be styling projects, like editorial work, like the
Yeah.
stylist and create something out of a dress. So would you call that an interesting piece of clothing? No, not really.
Yeah, stylists already do that anyway. So,
Exactly, that's the point. That's the thing. So, like here, we should be able to see styling, but not in that sense. Like how you put clothes together if you want to create a persona, or how you put clothes together, but not to create like that kind of construction piece that the stylist would do. Then
yeah.
probably he would not sell it anyways. It would this piece. I don't think you cannot buy that. It would not come out in the stores. Yeah,
Said the orchestra is not clean. The bowing was a mess. They're kids, so it's forgivable. Yeah, I just meant in like how it looks aesthetically, but yeah, they're just
yeah,
kids.
yeah.
Yeah, in terms of like actual skill of playing instruments, obviously they're not there,
I
because
think this
they're
was done
just kids.
on purpose, of course, huh?
Yeah,
But this was fun. I would say it was interesting. I wouldn't be disturbed by this really.
I think it might take Glenn a while to shake off some of his more blander commercial leanings because
Yeah.
Margella had more thoughtful imagination.
Uh,
Agreed. Agreed. And
it,
especially because he has to think in a very like diesel. I mean, he had the H&M collab recently. Y Project was like very commercial, like super
yes, yes.
commercial. Um, with like all the denim pieces and the jackets and stuff. So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. I think it's intentional.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to shake that off. I think he wants to continue like this. And my fear is that maybe he will be pushed also to continue like this because it might sell more. Not necessarily, but it might sell more. It's more digestible. So,
Yeah.
and that's the problem in general with brands now.
Yeah, so Luke, when to answer this, so when I think of Margiela historically, the thing about Margiela is that you can't really, as a designer at Margiela, I don't think you can really do like really grand things unless it's rooted in storytelling. So with the collection I know that Luke does not like, the famous John Galliano Margiela collection, I thought that made a lot of sense because the storytelling is like in like this French underworld of like clubbing, and that was kind of like the theme. That is akin to Margiela because Margiela would when you think of Margiela historically, it sits in that underground in a way, a lot of times out of necessity and not being able to afford more
Yes,
expensive things. So I think things that are too grand don't actually look very Margiela, or they don't seem very Margiela, or they don't even give you the feeling of a Margiela. If a venue is too big, it doesn't give a feeling of Margiela because Margiela is not grand in that way.
yes.
It's not. So I don't know how you strike that balance in the modern day when you're trying to make the brand bigger, but I guess that's the task that, Glenn has.
I mean, to be honest, after Galliano, it's a difficult task because it's another genius who, in my opinion, it worked very well. Such an unexpected appointment, but he he created Margiela, but in his own way, which is such a hard thing to do
Yeah,
because he used the codes, but in a maximalistic way. And of course, the clothes were fantastic. I can testify because I have, so I can tell they're very good quality clothes. Now, after that, yeah, how to create or how to continue the legacy, or not even the legacy, but at least like to have a point of view that is rebellious. Like if we talk about the essence of Marcella, it should be at least that.
yeah,
At least you don't necessarily need to use all the codes. But I mean, in other brands, they don't do that. Like in Jill Sander, you don't have the codes anymore of Jill Sander, like in so many brands. But it doesn't mean it's not interesting and we shouldn't be discussing about it and they are not innovating things. So we don't need to necessarily to be obsessed also about, the codes of Margiela. But like the
yeah.
essence, which is a much deeper thing, that's maybe where the discussion should be. It has to have some, and Glenn is not that kind of person.
And that's what I'm talking about, because even whether you follow the codes or not, I can still get a feeling of Margiela based on
Yes,
kind of like what I'm saying. If it's too clean, it doesn't feel very Margiela. When
yes,
Galliano was at Margiela, he made sure it was chaotic.
yeah.
Like when a good example, my favorite period of John Galliano and Margiela was during COVID. And during COVID,
I,
I think there was so much chaos. It was like, this is so Margiela. Like, John Galliano is doing these podcasts and he's talking about how difficult it was finding the right dye for a collection and how they were like going all over the place trying to dye these garments. And then they have these like swart collections, and you have John Galliano talking about his process, and you see John Galliano on the floor kind of making patterns, and then he's directing people, and then he's like, you know, cutting a garment because he's like, I don't like the shape of that. That is the chaos that you like associate with Margiela. So it felt so authentic. It's like
Yes.
it felt so Margiela, even though it wasn't. It was John Galliano. Um,
But because it was authentic, you see, I mean, the thing about Margiela is authenticity also. So in that sense, it's a common denominator. It's authenticity in the end of the day. It's not that much
yeah,
caring about how much you sell. I don't know how much Margiela was selling during Galliano. I don't think that much, really, to be honest. But still, everybody will remember him. I mean, this collection, this last collection, will be maybe be taught. You know, it's educational material. It's not, and that's the value of it.
yeah,
As you said, who will we remember and for what? Okay, it sells. Well, I mean, we want beautiful clothes to sell. We're not saying they shouldn't sell. Actually, on the contrary. Yeah, this was the haute couture, one of my very favorite ones. And
yeah.
he used
Autumn
that
winter
like he used
18.
that pink. I'm the one that is the one that I'm wearing now today. It's the same fabric.
Yeah. So it's just like I just need to see a bit more chaos
Yeah.
from Glenn. It needs to be less clean. It needs to be a bit more intimate. It needs to be more focused on the process of making clothes. And you can actually show that. Like even in that collection we just saw, there's not really a big focus on like the process of clothing. I didn't really see any of those
No.
elements
No.
in that collection. So yeah, it just needs to be, and that's the thing. I think John Galliano really truly understood the essence of Margiela, but like made it his own.
Yes.
And that's what I loved about his whole time at Margiela. Like he understood it's about chaos. He understood it's about like these underground stories. Um I just don't, it really isn't that hard to understand though. It like just
No.
isn't that hard to understand.
Yeah.
Margiela blew up during Galliano. Financially, he was amazing for the brand success. Yeah, and like I think when tabbies went mainstream was Galliano. Because I remember
Yes.
when I first got into fashion, fashion people used to wear tabbies all the time, but it was only like a purely fashion thing. Whereas now, I have so many friends that aren't into fashion, but they're like, oh, have you seen those horse shoes? Like those shoes that look like horse feet and all that sort of stuff. It's like fully mainstream in a way that,
Yes.
Margiela never was before, especially when I first got into fashion. It was very, very niche, actually, now that I think about it. Like when
Yes.
I first got into fashion, Margiela was quite niche.
And ironically, it was the only, he designed only this pair of shoes because he needed to pay otherwise money to create like this kind, like how we call that, like the thing that we create to create the shoe, like the wood.
Yeah,
I don't know how it's called. So he couldn't afford more. So it's so interesting that so many things came out of that, out of necessity, because there was no other choice for him.
yeah, because, oh my God. During COVID, like those Swart collections are,
They're
I
so
will
good.
forever talk about this collect.
Yes, yes,
Those
yes.
Margiela Swart collections were so good. Like, I'm just like, yeah. And it's like, when you look at the videos, like, look at how chaotic they look. This is so Margiela coded.
Yes, yes.
It's so Margiela coded. So I think sometimes people misunderstand the philosophy of Margiela a lot because they just think white lab coat, it has to look like a lab. It has to look clean. Like I think that's the where people misunderstand it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Glenn has to tell his story in Margiela tone, voice, cadence, not Margiela stories in the context of the current landscape. And I do believe he will find his feet, well, if time allows. For
Mm,
sure. I mean, we know that they have a lot of faith in him. I mean, like he's been making them loads of money at Diesel.
yeah.
So if anything, I mean, like, you know, yeah, I think he's going to have a lot of time. Like OTB definitely are going to have time for him, considering
Yeah,
he's also at Diesel.
for sure.
But like these collections, guys, if you guys haven't seen these videos, I'll show you guys. You need to watch these videos. It's called Swalk. This is the Autumn Winter 2020 collection, and after you need to watch Swalk 2. This was during COVID. This was like to me peak like John Galliano and Margiela. Obviously,
Mm.
I've liked a lot of like John Galliano's Margiela throughout the years, but like for me during COVID, I think maybe it's like a nostalgia thing also because during
Yeah,
COVID he was talking so much about the process through like the podcast and like everything else, where you really got a deep insight into the collections and kind of what he was thinking and like all the work that went into it and how difficult it was to create some, pieces. So yeah, these graphs look like what's that YouTuber that has those graphs? Um, oh, what's her name? She talks about menswear all the time. She has like Venn diagrams and pie charts and stuff like that. I've forgotten her name, but she like makes really cool videos. She's like blowing up. Can we talk about Givenchy falling further into the abyss? Yeah, let's talk about let's talk about Sarah Burton's Givenchy. Falling further into the abyss is a bit harsh, but
yeah.
let's talk about Sarah
There are
Burton's
others that fall
Givenchy.
much harder
Yeah, for sure, agreed.
than her.
In general, because I've reviewed a lot of her, well, it's not a lot, but her Givenchy collections
Mm.
from her
Yeah.
debut. Actually, first of all, I'm not sure I've gotten your thoughts, but what were your thoughts on like Sarah Burton's Givenchy debut? And then we can talk about this collection.
Um, I wouldn't say I disliked it. I think she's trying to introduce something. So she is very, how to say, she's trying to introduce the silhouette that she wants to have at Givenchy. So there were some that were very interesting, in my opinion. Um, I wouldn't say she's falling into the abyss. I wouldn't say that. I've seen much worse. Um, I like many of the pieces, to be honest. Like I like the neckline here. I like how some of the pieces were constructed, and she wants to give that very clean cut vision to Givenchy, which could be interesting. But I want to see more. It's not enough yet for me
And
to
just
just.
making the couture silhouettes contemporary. Like in my initial review, especially of her debut collection, I did actually show people all the different couture references
Yes,
from like all the different time periods that she was referencing and kind of how she's doing it. She's kind of like exaggerating everything. So the
yes,
tailoring is old Givenchy couture, but she's made it wider. Or like the bow details are very Givenchy couture, but she's made them comically big, right?
yes. I mean,
Um,
but look very contemporary.
yeah,
So you see, that's an interesting information that you're adding for people to understand that she just didn't do whatever. There is thought behind that. Then, I mean, for me, it's interesting in terms of clothing. It is interesting. It can become more interesting. She did also that beautiful jacket that is open at the back. It's very structured.
yeah.
Many people like that. I don't know if it is in the first collection here or in the second one. I'm not sure. I think it was in the debut. Not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember what collection, but I know the coat you're
I
talking
mean,
about.
yeah, it's not enough yet for me, but I wouldn't dismiss it. I want to see just more where she's going. I want to see that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think first of all, because she's only had two collections, I believe,
yes,
and I think her second collection to me, um, I don't know, like it's kind of weird. So both collections are kind of like there's pieces I like and pieces I don't. So I don't
yes.
even know like what I prefer between like her first and second collection, to be honest.
Hmm. They're
But
more or less
I
on the level, you would say.
Yeah, they're like on the same level. But I think she's getting there though.
Yes, I think so too. We should give her a little bit more time. I think it's not. I mean, You can tell she wants to say something and develop a vision for the brand. It doesn't look like, like we said for Calvin Klein or Jill Sander, that you can tell from the start that there is no interest in that. It's meaningless,
Agreed.
for the place, or it's I mean, they're very beautiful, these little dresses. I like them. And they're very well made. You can tell the clothes are very well made, at least most of them.
Mm.
Uh, so we will see. Yeah.
Luke said it's also just completely lacking the rigor and finesse that she had at McQueen, which was really strange.
I don't think she's
Ah,
like, it's just a different way of doing clothes. I mean, McQueen was a different thing for, now that's the piece, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Which is very interesting. You see interesting clothes, It's well
yeah.
made. So not, as you said, not everything, but I think she's getting there. She's creating a color palette. I don't know. I don't think this is bad.
Yeah, I think with her Givenchy, like with both collections, my takeaway is like she's almost there. Like
Yes.
she's almost there because for every like interesting piece we see like that opening like this. For every interesting piece, we see something like this. Where I'm just like,
Yes, yes, I agree. Yeah. Somewhere like why is this there for?
yeah. So that's what's confusing me. So I've seen a lot of good stuff from her at Givenchy, to be
Yes,
honest, but
yes,
I've also seen a lot of bad stuff. So that's why I'm just like in my mind mentally, I'm like, she's almost there. She's almost there. I also
yes,
think that she understands volume a lot more than like JW Anderson, for example, because I think that this whole like Rococo bow that Givenchy and Christian Dior themselves are really inspired by, and the fact that JW Anderson is trying to bring it back, you see Sarah Bassett trying to bring it back. It's it's cool, but I prefer the way that she does it to
she
JW
does it in
Anderson.
a different way. Yes, she does it in a different way.
That bridal look was also a big conversation. I remember at the time when the collection came out. Do we actually think this will translate to commercial success and arrival for Givenchy, or do we think she'll be replaced in another 2 or 3 years? Again, like Williams.
No, Williams
Yeah.
was a yeah.
Yeah.
We cannot compare because he was not successful in that. He was not. I don't know what was the choice for him to be a Givenchy. He was very good at Alex, but
But Alix and like they're just
I think
so
it will
different.
have.
Like
I think it will have a commercial success. That's what I think.
yeah, one of them is like a historical couture house, and another one is like Alix was like made really nice commercial pieces. Like
Yeah,
they're just totally different. They're in
yeah.
totally different stratospheres, to be honest.
And I'm sure she has a much, much broader and deeper know-how than him when it comes
Of
to construct.
course,
It's we
of
cannot compare.
course. It's not
And you
even close.
tell,
Like Sarah
yeah,
Burton comes from the school of Alexander McQueen,
exactly. So
and
what?
like Matthew Williams comes from the school of like Ben Trill. It's like it's not even. It's just not even comparable.
I mean, he used a lot of styling to try to save the collections, but you could tell he cannot do that.
Yeah.
It was very uncomfortable to watch.
This is a perfectly fine collection. Are you into edgier designers or is it too far of a departure from the master? Are you asking me or someone in the chat? I'm not sure if that's a question for me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I thought I make my taste be known.
Yes.
And then obviously this is like her more recent collection, which wanted same thing. There were a lot of pieces that I really liked, and then a lot of pieces that.
Yeah.
Do you know? Funny enough, what I really liked from Givenchy was when Matthew Williams left, and it was the team designing the collections. I really liked all those collections.
Yes.
There
Yes.
wasn't a lot of conversation around those collections because there wasn't a big figurehead to
Mhm.
create those talking points. But I went to a lot of Reese's at the time. I know I've talked about them on the live stream, and the clothing was really good. Like it was really, really
Yeah.
good. That was all clothing that I think would do well commercially.
Yes. Yes. But I think this will also do well. I hope. I don't know.
Yeah.
I find the clothes beautiful and wearable if you're a little bit current in what you wear. It's not that it's not that avant-gardistic, that difficult to wear.
And some of these like Sarah Burton things, some of them remind me of like Courage. Like some of the silhouettes of tailoring, like with the crop tailoring and stuff like that. It
Yeah, but
leans
they
more to like Courage.
yes, but in a much more sophisticated way.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, not that you mentioned courage, I don't even look at what they're doing. I say courage, courage.
No, I love
I,
Courage, but it is a bit samey, like season to season.
yes, yes, yes.
It is a bit samey to be honest, but I do still love Courage though. I think Jumanji will continue to suffer without either A, an unknown genius who will be plucked from a school, or junior department of a brand, or B, a superstar designer who will reposition it. They need. Do you know what Givenchy needs? A Galliano, basically. Not
Uh,
necessarily Galliano himself. I mean, he's already been there and done that. But like a Galliano type designer that's just going to take the archive and turn it into a completely different world.
mm,
It won't work any other way. I don't think it just
yeah,
won't work any other way because it. The problem when you do like the really nice, clean, the problem with, and I think someone mentioned it in the chat, and it's something I say all the time, is that these brands are becoming too homogenous. They're all starting to look like each other. They're
yes,
all aesthetically coming a bit too close to each other, and it's like, as a consumer,
very
what do you
problematic.
pick?
Yeah, yeah. Very
I
true.
fear those days are over. It's getting harder to build the skills to design at that level year over year. Is it getting harder, or designers just don't care as much? I don't think it's getting harder.
Yeah, I
If
agree.
I wanted to be like an insane designer, I could dedicate like the next 10 years. I'll be like, okay, I'm going to spend 3 years Savile Row. I'm going to spend 3 years under this designer, 3 years under this designer, and then 1 year under this designer. And then in 10 years, I'll be like an insane designer. And hopefully, I would have built my point of view and my
Yes,
own personal vision. I think it's just down to like, are you willing to do that or not? You need to remember that these designers that we hail were obsessives. Like Cristobal Balenciaga from when he was a kid. Like, I mean, you read books about Cristobal Balenciaga when he's talking about where he used to live. There was this rich woman who ended up being his patron who was like, you know, you can't copy this Paul Poiret dress. I don't believe it. And he copied it as a kid. Or the fact that he was constantly constructing things with the things that he had. These were like really curious designers that constantly worked on their craft 24/7. I just think designers don't care as much, to be honest. I don't think it's like they
yeah,
can't do it. I think they definitely
no,
can.
yeah. I mean, of course, there is the talent there, but like with great talent comes great obsession in a way, as you said. And obsession means a lot of work, a lot of research, attention to detail, all these things. So it's possible. Of course, it's possible. But you
Mm.
have to be, as you said, obsessed with it somehow. Yeah, like with
As a
everything.
fashion student, I can tell you that the kids are not all right. The schools are not delivering the skills in
Oh my God.
education. We need to be designers of that caliber.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I think doesn't help? This is going to be like really controversial, but I don't care. I do think that the educational system, I think because of like, I don't know if it's like the political climate we're in or the social climate doesn't allow for kids to be trained properly. So what I mean by that is like, even when I was at Central St. Martin's, which was not that long ago, like 2 to 3 years ago, it felt like lecturers had to walk on eggshells because like anything they say could be misconstrued and they could be cancelled and they could be fired. That is not a good
No.
a good for training people because when you're training people, you're teaching people, you want to be able to tell them that is bad, and let me tell you why it's bad. Like, and you can't care about some kid crying because you said their work is bad, because in the real world people don't care. Like, you think people care? Like, people just don't care. So it's best you get over that in school. So I think, unfortunately, especially in fashion schools, you're starting to see that a lot of the really famous teachers who are the reason why we've seen a lot of, you know, these amazing designers, those kind of lecturers are being pushed out in
Mm,
favor of lecturers that just walk on eggshells, don't really say anything.
yes.
They don't even tell you that your work is bad. They're like, maybe do this instead. Positive reinforcement. That just doesn't, I don't think that lends to good training. I
Mm.
just don't think it's as helpful as like people think it is, personally.
No, no, I agree with you. Yeah. It's not about being harsh. It's being about being, honest about it so that
Yeah.
somebody can become better. Actually, it's a good thing. Otherwise, we say everything is good and then, yeah. It's a little bit like what you said for Jean-Paul Gaultier, like we shouldn't judge much. And no, we should. If something is
Yeah.
bad, we should be able to say something is bad. I mean, of course, there has to be a reasoning behind that. But of course, it's equally important that
Because
we
those
say.
designers that we praise, they used to work. Like I would read stories where Yves Saint Laurent would sketch 1,000 looks for a Dior show, and Christian Dior would only pick like 10. Like it's crazy. How you design like come up with like 1,000 concepts, and they're like, I only like 10. Like that's crazy.
Wow, that's impressive.
Someone says Saint Laurent is yeah, Saint Laurent is a film studio.
Huh?
No, someone is saying like Saint Laurent is a film studio. It is actually a film studio. They worked on what's that film? Skip my mind. What was it? How does it skip my mind? But anyway, they were involved in that film. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Um,
let's talk about Saint Laurent then.
yeah.
We didn't talk
Wait, someone
about.
said on fashion design. We didn't actually talk about Saint Laurent, to be honest. On fashion design courses as well, when specific skills aren't taught, such as pattern drafting, and you bring them up to lecturers, a common response would be to teach yourself rather than them. Yeah, so it's so weird because like fashion school is such a weird place, especially because before I went to St. Martin's, I didn't even do fashion design. I studied journalism, right? But I had been a pattern maker because the first job that I got in fashion, I was like an intern that didn't have a clue about fashion. And so they just made me do everything down to like learn to make patterns, learn to do this. So I just learned everything on the job as a guy that just didn't know what I was doing. And obviously, eventually, I got good at it. And I found it so strange that, yeah, Emilia Perez, thank you guys. I found it so strange that when I finally went to fashion school and I would look at the design students complain about they're not taught how to make patterns, I'm like, how could you not be taught to make patterns? That's like so fundamental to clothing design. It just doesn't make sense for them to like tell you to learn that
I've
yourself.
heard many fashion students at St. Martin's and elsewhere. I think Antwerp is good in that. I hope. Paris is the same, like a little bit like IFM. I think is a little bit like St. Martin's in the sense that I was shocked. I didn't know that. And so a student was telling me, I have to learn how to use the sewing machine myself, and so they're not teaching you how to make clothes, which is like the most basic thing, because if you don't know how to make clothes, then you cannot do anything. Then
Yeah.
everything looks like an art project that is falling apart.
Yeah.
You should first learn how to do, like the best example is McQueen again, because pattern cutting for suits, which is the most classic thing, but it's a very difficult thing to make. And then from there, he developed his own pattern cuttings that were so his own patterns that were so unique to him that people still study. But like, how can you not have experienced pattern makers to teach you? How can you learn that by yourself?
You
It's
can't.
like
That's the funny thing. You can't because
you
like
can.
you
No, you
you can
can.
you can learn pattern making on yourself, but your progress will be really slow
Yeah,
because pattern making is like a science mixed with a skill, and there's
exactly.
just certain things that you
Yeah.
won't know unless you've been doing it for years. So like when I learned to make patterns, the
Mm,
pattern maker that we had was a guy that used to work at Balenciaga
yeah.
during like Nicolas Gasquier years. So he would show me stuff that honestly I never would have learned if he wasn't there. Like you're not gonna find that kind of information on the internet. Like I'll be making like a pattern for trousers, and he would like show me some like crazy techniques and be like, do you know that based on like the way someone walks, you would change the pattern this way? Or if someone has like a bow leg, you would make the pattern this way. So it kind of removes that shape of their leg and it makes their leg look more straight with the way that they walk. And like stuff like that was so advanced, I just wouldn't know stuff like that unless he was like telling me directly.
Yeah.
So and every to me, I think it's the fundamentals of like fashion design. If you don't know how to make patterns, like you can be a good designer without being a good pattern maker, but it's rare. It's really, really rare. If you think of the best ones, like whether we're talking about McQueen, one of the reasons why he's one of the best designers we've ever seen is like that background, the same as John Galliano. It's just a certain level of like ideas that can come to your head if you're good at making patterns that won't come. You won't even
Exactly.
think about it if like
Yes,
you just
yes,
don't
yes. Yeah,
you
because
don't
you
have
know
those
how to
skills.
construct clothes. So from that, you know what is possible, what is not, and then teaching how to be creative. I mean, that's like that you can teach yourself. You can read, you can be exposed to art and develop that is much easier than to like you cannot think yourself into doing patterns. It's a technical thing. Somebody has to teach you that.
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's so weird.
We
Yeah,
see
Saint
some
Laurent.
more bows again. Like I said,
Yeah.
everyone is going the Rococo direction.
Yes. So I mean, this is like more about styling than anything else, like creating that kind of woman. Of course, the leather pieces are going to be well made, I believe, most of them. I like the menswear much more. My menswear spring summer I liked a lot. The colorways are fantastic. But then, do we see something new? Not really. Like something innovative.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say maybe on menswear and women's wear, maybe a little bit the shoulder structure. It's a little bit more exaggerated than 80s. In some cases, I would say it's even a little bit more and a little bit sharper. But then if we have like to talk about innovation, but I guess
Yeah,
at this
we've
point,
seen it
Salon
before, but
innovation, I don't know, it sells so good that we don't need to, to innovate anything. But this is not, it's a sad thing, but it's like this.
yeah, but I think I love it because so few people are doing this Saint Laurent like power shoulder now.
Yeah.
So that's what I love about it because
Yeah.
even into the most like basic garments, like you just buy a plain shirt from Saint Laurent, but the shoulders are really structured. It
Yes.
looks so different to like what so many other brands are offering. And I think that's why so many people love it, especially women. Like you see, like in London, I see women wearing Saint Laurent a lot actually.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Of course, it's very sleek and elegant and chic. Definitely, it's very French chic, sexy. I mean, many women would gravitate around that. Um,
Like you go to like Mayfair, you're gonna see a lot of people wearing Saint Laurent. Like Mayfair especially, or like when I go to Harrods, I see a lot of people wearing Saint Laurent. Um, Knightsbridge and all those kind of places.
yeah,
Oh, this is about what our discussion earlier. Without the technique, you can be limited in your ideas.
yeah, of
At
course,
some point, you have to be able to respond to technical questions from the atelier. Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
It's just not even. I just don't understand it. It's like I've spoken about like the person who I work for now is like a leather craftsman, right? And he is a master leather craftsman. Like he like worked at Bottega Veneta. He like yeah. But anyway, any technical question I have for him, he has an answer. I don't think there's one technical question that he hasn't been able to answer comprehensively. So as a designer, say I wanted to become a leather craftsman, who knows, maybe in the future, he would be the perfect person to teach me how to do that. So as a designer, how difficult must it be to work under someone that doesn't have those skills? Who is like
yeah.
telling you to do things that they don't even know how to get there.
I mean, it's complicating it for no reason. It's like putting people in uncomfortable situations where they have to create things without knowing how to make it. Like, why should we do that?
Because you can't even direct it properly. Like you can tell them,
Yeah,
okay, make this dress, and they're like, how? And you're like, figure it out. And they're like, okay. Versus like if McQueen is like, make this, and they're like, how? And he's like, oh, okay. So the pattern needs to be this way, and then you allow for like this seam, and then you allow for this, and then you have to add a few centimeters here, and then da da da, and like this is why I do it this way. And you'd even see McQueen working on the floor and like showing them exactly how, and then they go and make it, and then they come back. I just can't imagine working for someone that doesn't know how to design. That would be so annoying.
Yes, 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 of course. Maybe that's why sometimes you end up with clothes on the catwalk that look so bad, you know? I mean, it's
Yeah.
pattern cut majorly.
Okay, people are still arguing about the power shoulders in the chat. The strong shoulder balances out my figure and looks very polished. Yeah, that's why people
Yeah,
love
of
it.
course, it's an 80s classic feminine kind of.
The thought at CSM is that it should all be about creativity and the skills takes away from that focus. That's the dumbest thing I've ever
Of
heard.
course it is dumb, yeah.
That is so stupid.
Because you're not creating art, you're making clothes, which is like a, that is a practical thing.
That is so stupid.
I mean, it's like how,
Every great designer is partially good because of their technical skill. Every
yeah.
single one. Like whether that's Givenchy or I don't know, like Balenciaga or McQueen or
I mean,
Galliano
you can
or
be genius and be self-taught, like Alaya.
yeah.
He learned how to do, I was reading, he learned how to do clothes by buying, by being first collecting the ore. So he was
Yep.
looking at all the aspects, and from that he deducted how he would pattern cut. I mean, you have to be. I mean, this is like quite painful. You have to become and still you have to be a genius, like somebody who is really talented to figure out this kind of things. But why should we do that when we can really? There's so many good pattern cutters. They can teach from their
Yeah.
experience. I don't know. It's like
It's
creating
just
a
it's
property.
like it doesn't make sense why you wouldn't. That's why I said if I wanted to learn how to make patterns, I'm going straight to Savile Row. Like it's just like it. Why not? Like all the even Stella McCartney, and I talked about this recently with Edward Sexton. Like she comes from that. Like she was taught by Edward Sexton. That's why her
Yeah,
tailoring is so sharp.
I was a
She
good
comes from that Savile
pattern.
Row
Mm,
school of thought. Like you can't be a good designer and like not think about technical things in any way. Rick Owens
yeah,
had to train his technical skills. All of them, even Tom Ford, even designers that are considered to like not be that good are still when you look at like their background, like Tom Ford, for example, you'd see that they've trained under some really good designers. So it's just it's really stupid that in CSM they think yeah it's all about creativity. No, I think actually you shouldn't think about creativity for your first years designing. I think it should all be technical.
yes,
And then when you master the technical, then you
exactly.
can be creative because now you're creative with the skill.
Yeah, you're not just fantasizing about something on a sketch, but you don't know how to
Yeah.
make it.
Like it's better to be creative with the skill rather than just like sewing rags together. Like it's
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I
yeah.
personally don't understand it.
Stella McCartney, then now she's such an underrated designer. People don't talk
Super
about.
underrated.
I just went to
Super
the
super
boutique a
underrated.
few days ago because I had seen the clothes on the catwalk and I wanted to see if they had some dresses, and they did have. And the draping is so good on the dresses. She has some structure pieces that are very beautiful, very well made. Her suits are always fantastic. If you want to buy a woman's suit, for me, Stella McCartney is. And also even her vegan leather pieces, they're so high quality because if for people who do not know, she has done so much research. She's the only one who doesn't use leather and feather. So she spent, I think, a lot of money on research and development to create things that are equal quality because it's very difficult actually to make a non-leather shoe that is as comfortable as a leather shoe.
Yeah.
that doesn't wear off like very often vegan cheap op vegan is very difficult, but it doesn't get old in a good way. It becomes so we should talk more about her. She does very interesting clothes. um she has her own signature. I don't feel she's copying anybody.
Yeah,
And it's
agreed.
relatively affordable compared to other brands. Like you can buy a dress for a good price, and it's a very interesting dress you can have with a great draping. And it's a shame they don't talk enough about Stella McCartney. Yeah,
Yeah, and then
I don't know why.
also like her time at Chloe
Yes,
was
she was. Uh, yes,
so
so
important
yes, yes,
historically, and obviously Phoebe Philo worked for Stella McCartney, and then obviously she had her time at Chloe. So going back to the Phoebe Philo fans once again, there's actually a lot of stuff that Phoebe Philo does that is from Stella McCartney.
yes.
But if you were to tell like the average Phoebe Philo fan that like like she's heavily inspired by Stella McCartney, you'll be like, no, she's not. Phoebe Philo is the god.
No, yes, yes. She learned things out of the voice. Yeah,
No, I'm a big fan of Stella McCartney. I think Stella McCartney is one of the few nepo babies that's actually really
very.
good,
Yes, she did.
like very talented.
Yes, yes,
Most nepo babies just have money, but they have absolutely no skill. Like no, Stella is actually like a really good designer.
yes, yes. I agree.
Yeah, Luke said her Chloe is goated. But yeah, we have now passed the 2 hour 16 minute mark. So Anastasia, I'm not sure if you still have more time, but
I do.
I know you've got stuff to do.
I always have time for discussing this.
She's like, if we're talking fashion, I've got time.
Yes,
Perfect,
definitely.
perfect, perfect.
I want to mention also some for menswear, some young designers that are coming up that I find very interesting. Of
Okay.
course, Bill Boner. Head Miner is somebody I like a lot.
Yep.
I find him very interesting. He has his own signature, and I think he's doing well, and he will do much better. I saw also some of his pieces. There were not many at Dover Street here in Paris. Uh, I don't know if you know this designer. You know him, right?
Yeah,
Head
yeah.
Miner.
Headminer's been around for a while.
How
Like
long?
it feels like Headminer's been around for. Let me Google it. When was it? Yeah, 2015.
Oh,
Yeah, cause
really?
I'm like, yeah, cause I'm like, Headminer's been around for a while. I've been seeing Headminer for quite a while at this point.
But I think what he's doing now is like much more visible. It's not a long time now that he's.
Yeah,
That's my feeling.
yeah, kind of what Michael said. Headminer's been showing at Paris Fashion Week for at least 4 years now. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Headminer's one of those brands that's been around, but I think,
Yeah. Relatively new. I mean, it's not like I'm not.
yeah, no, but it's still like emerging. Like 10 years in fashion is like you're new. That is kind of new, to be
Yes.
honest.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because people still talk about the Row like it's kind of a new brand, and it's been around since what 2005. So
Yeah. Row is not a new brand, though.
yeah, but no, I like what they do. I'm trying to put my finger on why there isn't more interest or like intrigue around Headminer. It's like
Why do you think that is? Maybe he's not promoted enough.
yeah.
Very often that's the case.
Headminer to me is like our legacy with way more flair. That's like how I've always seen like Headminer in my head.
Okay.
Wait, oh, people are still talking about design. Self-taught like Westwood means they're sometimes good because they research and do a particular look and
Yeah, that's
they just
also
stick and
true.
content. Oh,
But that's an exception. But still, she had to learn things. I mean, it's not. Yeah.
God.
But it's not like knowing how to do pattern is going to make you less creative. That's it's not real that is going to limit you. This is not true.
Yeah. I think there was a period where people would go to Balenciaga for some of their shapes instead of Headminer. That's fair enough.
Mm.
like the
But it's
oversized sort of
well,
sculptural shapes. Yeah. No, I like Head Miner. It's
yeah.
a brand that I've always been aware of because obviously, like I said, I go to Fashion Week. I see them at Fashion Week all the time, but
Yes, yes,
I'm not like deeply aware of like, let's say, like the philosophy of the brand and all those kind of things. But I know what it looks like aesthetically.
yes. I mean, who we can tell is very, very new. Like there is
Very
this
new.
design that is very upcoming. Paolo Carzana is called, I think.
Yeah, Paulo Cazana. I
He's
mean,
newer.
there's people like Lego Space Program who has shown at Paris now for I think 2 seasons. I've talked about Lego Space Program. I mean, Lego Space Program was literally in my magazine. I'm
There is
trying to
an
think
Italian one.
who
It's called, how
else.
is he called? Niccolo
Oh
Paschietti.
yeah, Niccolo Paschetti. Yeah. Niccolo Paschetti. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
The Italians are mad at my pronunciation.
It's okay. What can we
They're
do?
like, Pas who?
Paschialetti or something, I think it's like this.
Yeah, Pascaletti, yeah, something along those lines. But I actually love Niccolo's work, from what
Yes.
I've seen at least.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see if I can pull up his Instagram.
I mean, these designers come to mind because when I see the clothes, I can tell more or less it's them. They have already signature, and for me, that's very important. Whereas other designers that I see that are relatively young designers, when I look at the things they do, I'm not necessarily, I would not remember or recognize anything.
Yeah. But yeah, I've seen a lot of intrigue around Nicola's work. A lot of people talk about, like, I've seen a lot of fashion press
Hmm.
really talk about his work, to be honest. So I think
Yeah,
it's only a matter of time before,
I think
like,
so too. Yeah, he will do very well.
yeah, I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. And then, of course, for menswear, we didn't talk about Craig Green. I'm not as a new designer, of course, but like as that I love the collections.
Yeah.
I love the spring summer collection that he did. I always like his collections. There is no collection that I could say I don't like. He's so unique in what he does.
Oh, I love John Alexander Skelton, but that first of all, that brand has been around forever. um, so it's not a new brand. It's kind of like one of those brands that's kind of like just always going to be niche, but people that appreciate it appreciate it.
Yeah. And then there is this. I think he's of Mexican origin. He presented in Paris recently.
Oh,
Willie.
Willie Chavarria.
But yeah,
I've always wondered how do you say it? Is it Willie Chavaria or Willie
I think it's
Chavarria?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's Willie Chavaria.
But no, I like his stuff too.
But
I
can
got to
I
meet him for the first
say?
time last season in Paris, which was fun.
I I don't like. I mean, there are a lot of cultural references, and this is great. But in terms of clothes, I mean, like it's a lot of zoot. How we call that zoot suit? Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
zoot
very,
suits.
you know, reference to Latinos in the U.S. Maybe in New York in particular. I'm not sure. But yeah, the zoot suit and
Yeah,
all
like
this
black and Latino. Yeah,
black, yeah. But because
New
he is of
York.
origins, so can I say that this is interesting in terms of making clothes? I'm not that sure.
Yeah, I think with Willie,
He
a
brings
lot
some,
of it,
yeah,
it's like a styling. It's more of like a
exactly,
styling thing. It's a
exactly,
certain he's bringing back a certain time period
exactly, yes,
of like American fashion. Like if you were to hop in a time capsule and look at the way like Latinos dressed in a certain time period, he's kind of like bringing that's kind of what his aesthetic is.
exactly, yeah. That's why I
Um,
don't.
I like it though. I personally really like it.
Mhm.
Like I really like it styling wise. And like because
Yeah, yeah.
when I was in Paris, I was in his showroom. So that's why I met him actually. I was in his showroom.
Okay, yeah.
And looking at all the clothing individually, I was like, oh, okay, this is really interesting. Like when you look at it individually, there's a lot of stuff that I would wear, to be honest.
Okay, fair enough. Sometimes you see you need to see the clothes also. Sometimes it's needed.
Yeah, up close and like some of the
Okay.
clothing, he uses some really interesting techniques also. I think I've even talked about some of them. I remember I made some reels when I was in his showroom about it. Um, but yeah, he's cool. I like his aesthetic. It is a
Mhm.
lot more styling, like I said, but I
Yeah,
do like what he does.
yeah, it is more styling.
Someone
Uh,
said it's actually called Pachuco style. Okay, that's interesting.
okay.
Let me write that down. Pachuco
Yeah,
style.
because it's more like the zoot suit adapted not to the Latinos. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mexican American subculture from the 1930s, defined by
Right.
flamboyant zoot suits, all set to jazz and swing music. Yeah, kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Ah, so yeah, it's
I
like,
didn't actually know there was a name for it, but like we
I mean,
said, it's
neither.
kind of like that, like Latino zoot suit kind of.
Pachuco sounds very Latino also, so maybe the Mexicans were calling it like this, and African Americans had some variation calling it something else.
Well, yeah, because like with most American subcultures, a lot of them tend to be like black and Latino mix.
Yes, of
So
course.
like the way that black people were wearing zoot suits is like slightly different from the way like Latinos are wearing zoot suits. So
Yeah,
obviously those create like different subcultures and style.
exactly. Yeah.
Which is obviously why this would have like a very distinctive name. So thank you very much actually. The person who mentioned that, I'm definitely gonna do some research on this after the stream. Someone said like punk before punk. I can see where it fits in a broader aesthetic. Yeah. Yeah. It's also very it's very like Ludan. Like Ludan is another brand I'm a big fan of. Of course, I posted that like detailed interview with Hung La, but it's kind of like something that Willie Cheveria also does is kind of put a focus on kind of like thugs, but in a very Ludan way. It's kind of showcasing like the length and breadth of like different people from the culture, whether it's like the businessman or the thug
Mm.
or the doctor and like
Yeah,
how
yeah.
they dress or like the flamboyant person and kind of like putting something on that and then also it's just so interesting.
Yes.
It's so interesting. It's so interesting. Someone said Malcolm X wore suits like this in his youth. Yeah, yeah. A lot of black people are wearing zoot suits in like
Yeah.
the 30s, the 40s. Yeah, Hung La did work for Phoebe Philo at Celine. He did. He went to the Royal Academy of Fine Arts, I think, in Antwerp. Hung La
I think I
did
had read a
Cholo
while
in Vietnam.
now about the zoot. I'm not sure it was about the zoot suit, but I think so. One of the rebellious things about it was also that it was using so much fabric at a period of time where fabric, was more expensive because we're talking 30s is after the First World War. So it was kind of rebellious in that sense as well. But I'm not sure it was about the zoot suit or another kind. But there was. I had read that somewhere a while ago, and I have the memory of this. It's very possible actually that it was the zoot suit.
Yeah. Someone is saying that Willie is kind of poetic. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he is.
for sure. Even like stuff like this, like the shoulder detail. I like that, like the puff shoulders. No, he has, like I said, I'm a fan of his stuff, and I think from being able to go to the showroom, and actually I spoke to him in person too. So I was, not only was I going through the clothing, any question I had to ask, he was nice and like he's a really nice guy. First of all, the
Which is
fact he
important.
gave me that much time because he had like VIP clients coming in and stuff. And he still had time to like answer questions and talk about all that sort of stuff. So, no, really nice guy. Also,
Yeah.
but yeah, Any other designers? I'm trying to think. In this annual recap. The other brands I've talked about too much, like Balenciaga, I've talked about it too much. I mean, Gucci, I've talked about it too much. I think people are tired of me talking about Gucci Damna. Uh,
How do you think about, what do you feel about Prada recently?
uh, so Prada I like, but I don't appreciate that they try, because Mucha Prada kind of does this thing where she tries to like be an intellectual, and sometimes it does come across like Ras Simmons does it too, or both of them do it, and sometimes it comes across like they're trying too hard. Like, have you read Prada press releases?
Yes.
Like when you read their press releases, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like I remember in a lot of my reviews, I've actually like looked at the press releases and then looked at the clothing, and it's like the like conformity. What is conformity? Conformity is what restricts clothing. But with a school uniform, within the conformity, we come out and we create a cabal and it's just like it's nice tailoring. Like, well, Mita Prada has always done that. It's why she has like, you know, the fondazione. She aligns herself with like art and that sort of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do think that Prada is over intellectualized for
It's
sure.
good that you say that. Yeah. It's true. It's like when you go to these galleries and you see a painting, but then the description has nothing to do. They try to justify why the painting is like this or like that, or the sculpture or whatever, and it's like
Yeah,
some intellectual. It's like empty intellectually, truly. There is no real substance. Well, I mean, but the
yeah,
collection is good. Huh? There is no need actually to try to.
yeah. There's no need to intellect. Like, I don't go to Prada to like act intellectual. I go to Prada because I like the way that Prada is styled,
Yes,
and I like the way that she's able to use like different textures and colors that aren't supposed to work together, but
yes,
somehow she has the taste level to make it work. That's like what I go to Prada for.
yeah, exactly. And that's a good example. Prada is a good example of combination of interesting clothes with styling.
Yeah,
She had in this collection these dresses, that comes out of the dress.
yeah,
And I think this is a reference to her very first collection. She has done one piece like that. And I find it so interesting because this could be the result of styling as well, if you put like dress on a dress. But here it's constructed, I guess, this way it's one piece.
yeah. To make one piece, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, they've had these ideas that they've been. So there was a collection, I think it was last year, I think, where this whole collection. Let me see if I can put it on the screen. Actually, was based on the silhouette of a single shirt, and then the whole idea was like, how many ways, how many things can we make from spring summer 24, like this
24.
collection,
Mm.
yeah. So it was about like how many different silhouettes can we make out of a canvas of a silhouette of a shirt? So she took this silhouette and then made every single piece in the collection was all based on the silhouette of that piece. So cargo shirts, like coats, um, let's see, like coats, the vest, the coat, yeah. Everything was all based on that silhouette. And it's interesting because even in a lot of the collections this year, I can still see that same silhouette that
Yeah.
she decided to use. It still, you can literally still see it in the clothing and the collections. One of my favorite collections actually was this collection, this Fall Winter 25. I really, really like this collection.
I like this a
This was
lot.
probably my favorite product collection all year.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one that had like scaffolding and like
Yes,
the
yes.
really nice carpets and stuff. Let me see if I can put the runway video because I like how it was filmed. Let me see. Yeah, it's this collection. A feminist and socialist constantly justifies why she took over an exclusive label and didn't become a. So Mucha Prada's let's say political leanings are inherently flawed, and I love how so many journalists have read her to filth. It's like what was I reading? Was it How Luxury Lost Its Luster, where Dana Thomas was like, granted, Mucha Prada was a socialist, albeit a Rolls Royce driving, Saint Laurent wearing socialist, and it was so funny when she wrote that. It's like I think a lot of people just like the sound of things, but they don't actually like embody, let's say, the political leanings that they claim they have. I definitely would say Mucha Prada is 100% one of those. Like, I
Yeah.
love her, but I think, yeah, her idea of what her political leanings are, I think she should like look inwards.
Yes.
What is Dries doing right now? Dries Arnoten, I don't know, probably planting flowers.
Yes.
Um,
He's tired. He said that.
yeah.
For now. I mean, he can have another life. It's fine, He continue his life,
He's tending to his plants in his garden.
taking some rest. Also, it's good.
Yeah.
Doing other things. Dries is in safe hands, so it's fine.
In very good hands. But yeah, I love this collection, like
Yes, yes,
down to like the way it was styled,
yes,
down to
yes,
the idea. And this was one of the collections where I felt like they weren't trying to over like intellectualize it, and it was actually one of my favorites
yes,
because
yes.
of the styling, even like the boots that they did that was supposed to look aged.
Hmm.
Those are really cool. No, the whole collection, chef's kiss, chef's kiss.
Yeah,
And I
great
also
collection.
think with this collection, something I loved, it seemed a bit more like Mucha. It was quite funny because I remember the first collection of Mucha Prada and Raf Simons did. It was like there were cameras everywhere, and it was like a yellow backdrop,
Yes,
and
yes. It was a
it
great collection.
looked like a Raf Simons collection.
Yes,
It didn't really look
very
very Mucha. And I think over time they've kind of been trying to find that perfect balance. I think this collection
they're
was an
fine. They're
example of
fine.
like,
They're
yeah,
doing
that
well.
perfect balance. Did not someone saying rolled out of bed hair? Yeah. I
Yes,
know,
yes,
right?
yes, yes. I mean, this is very common now, even in editorials. This kind of
Yeah.
message there, it's yeah.
Can't a rich girl catch a proletariat vibe?
Uh-huh.
No, it's just this comment that's because I think after what I said about Micho Prada, that's funny. It's like cosplaying as being working class, right? It's like that's why I'm always really skeptical. This is so. I guess we're talking about Micho Prada, so I guess it's relevant. But like, I'm always really skeptical about really, 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 really rich people, like billionaires rich,
Uh,
that claim that they're like activists, like Mucha Prada does. It's hard to take seriously because it's like you're so isolated from the realities of normal people.
yes,
I just can't take you seriously. It's just
yes.
like
And it's
Mucha
like,
Prada doesn't even touch normal people day to day.
and never ever, because she comes from wealth from the beginning, from her very big, from her childhood. It's not like,
Yeah. She's a rich kid from a rich family who stayed rich and became more rich. Like
yeah,
it's.
exactly.
Do you reckon Micha Prada knows what the price of milk is? Like a gallon of milk? I don't think so.
It's like it reminds me of an interview of Mariah Carey.
She just has a credit card that her
But
personal assistant
her,
uses.
she asked her like if she pays the electricity bill herself, and she didn't even know the electricity bill.
I always wonder, like, maybe because I'm just like broke, and so I just can't think any different. But like, I cannot imagine a reality where I don't know all the money going out and coming in. Like, how do you not know if you pay your bills or not? That means you don't know what money is going in and out of your account. That's like crazy to me.
Yeah. Or Or maybe she just said that to look very nonchalant, and I don't bother about.
I
But this
was
Mareka,
about to say, like,
this is too, like, I don't know, too basic for me. I don't want to bother about it.
yeah,
I'm a diva, but that's another category. She's yeah. Anyway, yeah. Prada, but contrary to Prada, Miu Miu last collection I didn't like at all. It was much spoken about with the aprons.
yeah,
It was a lot of styling, but in terms of clothing, I wouldn't say. Miu Miu
yeah.
to me,
I just think Miu Miu leaves a bad taste in my mouth because obviously the quality is hot garbage. So
I
there's
didn't know.
that.
I don't buy Miu Miu. Okay, interesting to know. Yeah.
Yeah, the quality is like atrocious. So it's just like, yeah. But this is the collection you're talking about, like Spring Summer 26 with the aprons and stuff that everyone was talking about. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I do like the styling though. I'm not gonna lie. I do like the style. I
Yeah.
just think Miu Miu is just overpriced and it's just like not that well made. It's just like, what's the point?
Yes. Yes. There isn't much to talk about here on this.
I went to a punk music event and dodged some kids dressed in plastic garbage bags and safety pins, getting out of a latest model Mercedes.
That's interesting.
So do you know what's funny about like this goes back into what we were saying about designers not understanding like the true essence of the brands that they design for. It's the same thing with a lot of people don't actually understand the true essence of movements. So a lot of people use the word punk really loosely. Part
Yes.
of being punk is being anti-establishment. You can't be that if you're super rich because to be super rich you have to be so well within the establishment that like
Yeah.
it's not physically possible for you to be punk. So the people turning being punk into an aesthetic and then getting out of like really expensive cars wearing a trash bag with safety pins is hilarious. It's like
It is hilarious. Yeah.
it is quite funny. But
Yeah.
some people just don't understand. It's like there's more to it than just like wearing safety pins and like having a mohawk. It's like, it's like I have ripped jeans and my leather jacket has safety pins. I'm punk today. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, punk is a state of mind. Also, like that's what.
yeah. Another reason why it makes my skin crawl when they call. Wait, people call McQueen punk? Really? What's
Oh.
punk about what? That's strange. I think Galliano, you can make an argument for a few collections being punk, but McQueen is completely out of the question.
Yes. Yes. Punk in what way?
Yeah, punk is about DIY as well. That is true.
Yeah.
But it's also like DIY in every sense. Like when I think of punks, I think of misfits. They're like I said, anti-establishment. Like punks are the kind of people that don't pay for the train; they jump over the barriers. It's like so. Can you be a billionaire and be punk? Probably not. Like
For sure. Yeah.
your chauffeur is driving you to your event. That's not very punk, is it?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Marina Abramovich getting plastic surgery is punk. Ah, that's kitsch.
That, yeah. That's also like. Oh, it's not punk.
That's kitsch. That's kitsch. That's not punk. In my opinion, is cheap clothing, torn clothes, or creative styling cues. Yeah,
No.
I think punk has to be more than that. I think I
Yeah.
just can't reduce punk to like an aesthetic only. I think punk
Not
has
at
to come
all.
with a certain way of being. It's like how you carry yourself. It's like how you are. It's like the kind of music you listen to, the kind of things you're into. It's like your political leanings. Because
Yes.
punk is also very political. Um, so yeah, you can't be like, yeah, protect the billionaires, and then like that's just not punk. It's just not.
And I
Yeah.
mean, it's like it has so many layers to it. I was watching an interview of McLaren at the very beginning with Vivian Westwood, and the genius behind that actually was not Vivian Westwood, was McLaren, and I was so
Yeah, yeah,
surprised
yeah.
for that. He was such an intellectual, and then I mean, she learned a lot from him, and then of course she had her own legacy, but. I mean, it's much more than safety pins and all that.
Yeah, it's also because like punk, like I said, is more than just the clothing.
Yes,
And
yes,
the thing about Vivienne Westwood is obviously she was focusing on the clothing, but she learned a lot of stuff from Malcolm, and then also Malcolm was the person that was managing all the punk artists at the time.
exactly.
So Malcolm really is the person who built the movement. What Vivienne Westwood did was like, handle the clothing side of things. But if we're talking about punk as a movement, that's really Malcolm.
Yes,
So yeah, it's because people reduce punk to clothing. That's why.
to say
Um,
even just yeah,
yeah. And like he managed a lot of people actually. Like people just think of like the Sex Pistols and stuff.
and she went further into saying one time in an interview that um, if it's
Mm,
culture, it should be understood and spoken by a minority. If it's the majority, it's not even culture. She went as far as to say when we talk about cultural things and true culture, most people are not even concerned about culture. So it is the minority, and I agree with her on this.
yeah. And there's so many other like I talk about them all the time because no one talks about them. I don't know why, but people like, let's say the Bromley contingent, right? Um, who they were like fans of like the Sex Pistols, and then they made their own group, and then they kind of were really really iconic in like the punk movement. You had like Susie Sue and like people like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and that's why that's why I don't like talking about punk because the conversations around it, I know they're going to annoy me. People are like, yeah, Sex Pistols, Vivienne Westwood, punk, and it's like they're so like punk is just so much bigger than that. It's just like, and there were big punk movements not just in London, like all around the world that are really
yeah.
relevant to building the movement. So it's like, yeah. So maybe people reduce punk to clothing because Vivian and Malcolm ultimately became part of the establishment. Yeah, definitely to an extent.
Yeah.
Definitely to an extent. But yeah,
But I mean, part of
anything.
and that is also questionable. It doesn't mean also because you are an activist and you eventually you make money out of it that you should, refuse that money and not want to create, your brand just to stay as like she's she was always a rebel. She was an activist for environment. And so, I mean, in herself, she was always very, like true to herself. I would say. I don't think
Yeah,
because she made money and she created Vivian Westwood in itself is not bad to make money because we are also living in a world that is ruled by money. We cannot do otherwise. So
yeah.
um, I won't say she was really part of the establishment in a way that rich people really are. She didn't lose her authenticity.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then you have like more new romantics also that followed punk, which was also very interesting movement, the continuation of that.
Yeah, I do think these things also shift. So it's like even let's say like punk is like how I see avant-garde. So it's like if as a designer what you're doing is so different from the norm, then it's avant-garde. But then if so many people adopt it that it becomes the norm, it's no longer avant-garde.
Yes.
So it's kind of like it's circumstance dependent in a way.
Yes.
But a lot of these like words, people just put them permanently on people. So if you're like an avant-garde designer, you'll forever be an avant-garde designer, even when like your aesthetic becomes like the norm. Or like if you're a punk designer, you're forever going to be a punk designer, even if you start making clean suits. People are going to be like, they're punk. It's punk suits, even if they're just like plain suits, because that's the branding you've been given.
Yeah, but things shift and there are nuances to think. It's not like black or white or we have to give a title to it, you know. Sometimes things change and it's normal.
Yeah.
It's part of the flow of things. I'm not happy with what's happening at Alaya. I don't know what will happen next. I was,
Right.
yeah, this like same with Real Thunder. Like, why? I like what I was seeing. I remember.
Yeah, but well, apparently he's going to Versace, so
Yeah,
that's what everyone is saying. Pietro
yeah,
Muglia at Versace.
yeah.
What do you think about that in general? Like, do you think that Versace needs him? Do you think he's going to like take it in a very interesting direction? What do you think about that?
I have no clue. It's, I mean, based on what I saw, um, I mean, he's a very experienced designer, obviously. He has worked a lot with Raf Simons. Uh, he has worked on, with different brands. Like, I don't know what Versace wants to, I don't know what Versace wants to become now, you know. That's the thing, because
That's the
it
problem.
was such like the aesthetic was like the continuity of her brother. I cannot imagine Versace differently. That's the problem. So I don't know he who was at Alaya, what he will do and how this will look like. I'm very curious to see, but I don't know what Versace can say at this point because it's such a specific aesthetic for so long
Yeah.
that should it shift to something else, and what would that something else be? What kind of woman the new Versace woman will look like? Similar to the previous one, but in a different way. I don't know. Like, I have no clue. What about you? What do you think? Do you have an idea of what direction he's going to take?
Yeah, I was speculating because I think that like Versace, what they're going for now is they kind of want the typical like Versace thing, like the whole Miami clientele, rich woman at a casino, you know, Monaco Grand Prix sort of
Like,
vibe. So they want to go down that direction, but just make it more clean. So I think that if that's the case, Peter Mulia can do that.
yeah,
Um, but I just don't think that will work commercially. I can tell that they want to go in that direction. I don't think it will work though.
yeah. Versace, but cleaner. I mean, if you remove too much from Versace, it's not Versace also anymore. But yeah, I don't know. It's and it's a brand I'm not following for a long time now because it's not part of my aesthetic. But I mean, she has been doing well, continuing her what her brother was doing in a simpler way, and she has done this for so many years. I don't know if they were selling a lot. Do you have any idea about that? How Versace was doing with
They
the?
were doing. I do. They were doing terribly.
Ah, really?
Yeah, yeah. I've talked about some of their figures. I can bring up some of the stats actually. Give me 1 second.
They were doing terribly. Even though I would say it's one of the very few brands that does like sexy, you know, in that Miami, as you said, kind of this kind of women kind of way. But there are not many brands that do that. So I'm surprised that it's not selling.
Yeah, it wasn't selling well at all.
I mean, I don't imagine who is selling then, like a more sophisticated woman, because I don't see that many of those. Um, I mean, if I talk about the majority of what women would choose to buy, they would go towards sexy most often. So
I
it's surprising.
remember.
Well,
Was it this article? I think it's this one. Let me see. Du-du-du-du. Aha, yeah. Brand revenues declined 15% to 193 million in fiscal 2025. In fact, the label has posted quarterly revenue and profit losses since Q3 2024.
mm,
So yeah, financially they've been struggling.
yeah,
So they need someone to come in and just like revamp the whole thing. But how many brands of like those like big luxury brands that they want to like be relevant. It's just not possible for all of them to be relevant at the same
Exactly. It's
time.
not possible to be, yeah. I think Versace, in my opinion, Versace, should be remembered in the history at this point. I don't see any point in.
Yeah.
McQueen was the same to me. I mean, Sarah Burton, yes, okay, to a degree, but I mean now it's an embarrassment.
Yeah, I
So
think now they just need to pack it in with McQueen, to be honest. They need to let that one go.
yes, they need to. Another brand that is also very underrated is Ferragamo.
Yes, I've been talking about Maximilian a lot on social media.
Yes, it's a shame because he does good collections and what I like what he does at Ferragamo.
Why do you think his collections fly so under the radar?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I guess this is like a politics thing in the fashion industry. It's like he's not promoted enough, but I think he's the woman he wants to create for Ferragamo. I find very interesting. I don't know. It's like I don't understand why.
Right.
He has been doing consistent work. Everything is very well made. It's like interesting silhouettes, very contemporary, nice colorways, beautiful fabrics. I mean, many brands do that and they do well. Why not Ferragamo?
And
I don't.
unfortunately, like because when I posted about Maximilian Davis on Instagram, a lot of people didn't even know who he was,
Okay.
which is like, because obviously my Instagram audience is a bit more novice than like my audience on like YouTube, I would say.
Yes.
So like, my Instagram audience, if I post about most designers, they're gonna be like, there's gonna be a lot of people that will be like, oh, I don't know who this is. So they were like, I thought Ferragamo was like the belt was a belt brand. That's what people said on
They
Instagram.
thought what? That it is a what? A belt
A
brand.
belt brand because you remember the time when those belts were like really
Oh my
popular,
god.
the Ferragamo belts.
Oh
I
my
was like,
god.
wow, these brands have a lot of work to do.
So interesting. Oh, that's
If people associate your whole brand with just making belts, then
oh,
like, yeah, you
wonderful.
you have a lot of work to do on the marketing side.
Ah, yes, yes. Very true. Yeah, I mean, because for a while the brand was dead, so I guess posh ladies would buy like this, all this kind of very classic, maybe bags also.
Yeah, belts and shoes, exactly.
Ah, what a shame. This is, yeah, because it was like in creative direction and something fresh, but now that's here.
Yeah,
I find it very chic, and I don't know. I like what he does a lot.
yeah. I also like how, because obviously he references the archive really well. Like I like how,
Mm,
you know, you see Maximilian will use like a fish scale because people might not know this, but like Salvatore Ferragamo himself, he was like obviously used to make shoemaker, was like mainly a shoe designer, and he was known for experimenting with like really alternative fabrics for the time.
hmm Yeah.
And one of the big things that he used to do, he used to start experimenting with like using things like fish skin to make footwear. So Maximilian has this like silhouette of coat sometimes that looks like a fish scales that I find really cool because it's like a cool kickback to the heritage of the brand. So that's always really cool to see. I'm waiting for a Versace bathrobe to come down enough in price so I can get one as a joke. I feel like a Versace bathrobe is kind of like one of those prerequisites of like I've made it in life. You know all those like crypto bro scammers. When I think of a crypto bro scammer, I just think of like Versace robe in Dubai. That's like the image in my mind. At least they know the belts. That's funny. Oh gosh, that's funny. Oh my god, we're almost at 3 hours. Guys, any more questions? We can do a little makeshift Q&A a little after hours. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Um I wonder if I angle this camera this okay, yeah, you can't see it, so. Any more questions, guys, before I disappear? It's New Year's Eve. When will Sean McGear leave McQueen? I have no idea. I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. Thoughts for Demna's vision for Gucci? I've spoken about this a million times already. I have loads of videos about Demna's Gucci. To be honest, I don't want to like beat a dead horse and keep talking about it. Um. So yeah. Do I have plans for another stream? Not anytime soon, to be honest. Unless if there's something you want me to stream about, then I can like send me a DM. But yeah, not in the moment. People are asking if you said goodbye. We're experiencing some technical difficulties. That's all. Does anybody know anything about the Isabella Blow biopic that was supposed to be out at the end of the year? Also, oh my god, I watched Marty Supreme the other day actually, which was interesting. The film was a lot longer than I thought it would be. It was quite a long film. The styling was really good. I really liked the styling. I'm not going to tell you guys the plot because I don't want to like spoil it, but yeah. Very strange, very strange. There are pictures out on the internet. It looks bad. Oh, wait, what is he talking about? Oh, Isabella Blow. I wonder if industry execs care about how bad the PR for working in the fashion industry is. Like, what student feels hopeful right now? I wonder if industry execs care about how bad the PR for working in for working in the fashion industry is. Like, what does student feel? Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you mean. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, it's hard to get into the fashion industry. It's a very difficult industry to navigate. It's a relationships based business. It's all about who you know, not what you know, how good you are at what you do, which is messed up, but it's how it is. I don't think the execs care. I think so long as they make billions, they're too busy, flying their private jets to actually think about what it's like for people just coming into the industry, to be honest. Also, thank you so much for this super chat. That's crazy, donating $20. I really appreciate it. Happy New Year to you. I think it also depends on people's time zones, because for me it's like the 31st, but some people it might be like New Year's, depending. And I'm not sure Anastasia can hear me, because she sent me a message that she can't hear me, but I'll message her and say that we can hear her, so she should just talk about let me send this message. Let's see. There we go. It's still the 30th in the US. Yeah. What are your predictions for fashion trends in 10 years? Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea. I've not actually thought about that. Like, 10 years is such a long time. 10 years. I feel like fashion is cyclical, right? So I feel like all the silhouettes now are becoming wider and wider and wider and more relaxed. And I personally feel that because every time when I see, there's Instagram or like TikTok videos where it's like, what's your fashion pet peeve? And everyone is like, Skinny jeans, skinny jeans, skinny jeans. So I feel like in 10 years everyone's going to be wearing skinny jeans again, like skin tight, like skinny jeans, skinny jackets. Everything's going to go back to being ultra skinny. I feel like that's probably what will happen. Um, but yeah, we
I
can't. We I don't think she can hear me, but this is so weird. Like all of you can hear both of us, but she can't. Well, I can hear her, but she can't hear me. Getting sick of bow leg silhouettes for trousers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I cannot, but I can talk. You want me to talk on what?
Why did she disappeared again? Oh no! Just as she was about to talk about what she's wearing. Where is Olivier Rousteing going to next? Does anyone care? Um, yeah, I have no idea. I've not given that much thought, to be honest. I really haven't. Okay. Let me tell her to talk about what she's wearing.
Ah, people want to know what I'm wearing. Okay. Yeah. What am I wearing? I'm wearing an MM6 shirt and a Margiela top on top of it. So it's just a little bit of layering, that's all. Simple thing for today.
Marjala on Marjala.
And a Miyake pair of pants that you cannot see. Skinny jeans, why? It's hilarious. Ah, skinny jeans. Why should we be talking about skinny jeans? Like, why should we even bother? I see people still wearing skinny jeans, and I'm like, I cannot, I cannot, I cannot see that anymore. It looks like I'm living in the past, you know? Like in a time capsule. I go around, I mean, I go around in the metro, it's so funny. And I feel like I'm looking at the past all the time. Like there are so few people that wear anything remotely interesting. It baffles me. I don't, this is one thing I don't understand. Why people, they don't bother at all about how they look like. I mean, in terms of fitting even, not even, we're not even talking fashion, you know. Just like something, an element of surprise, it doesn't exist, it's not there. I guess they want to blend in, but then it becomes so uninspiring. I mean, it's beyond uninspiring. It's like for me, it's upsetting. But
Yeah.
I just get upset by myself. You know, I get in the middle, I'm like, why, why they're doing this?
See, guys, this is
I
why I say they're coming back.
I would
This is
love to
why I
see
say.
people getting dressed much more interesting ways. It's so I don't know. It's something I don't understand. I don't know if you understand why, what are the reasons behind that? They're social or political, but
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know.
I have no clue, really. I have no clue on this.
So looking
Yeah.
at skinny
Ah,
jeans.
okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Los
I mean,
Angeles Athletic Traffic.
people say skinny jeans are coming back. Is that true though? I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Yeah, it's all music connected. Yeah, Eddie Simon is like to do with music, like LA culture. LA culture. But anyway, guys, I do need to take my leave. Um, there are other things I need to do in my life, but thank you everyone for tuning in. I just wanted Anastasia to talk about her outfit quickly. And I shall be seeing you in the new year. One of my New Year's resolutions is to stream more consistently. Whether that will happen is a totally different thing, but we'll see based on like my workload from like my actual job, my actual 9 to 5. We'll see. But thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you in the